Hope you're all having a good Monday. And welcome to your usual dose of Fleet's Random Ramblings. I hope you're all having a great time. Now, most of you know how this all goes, but in case anyone's new, I sit here and I answer questions. Great, now Rune's come up with another nickname, Fleet in a Bottle. You know, you'd think, wouldn't you? Christ, it's too warm in this house, despite it being bloody freezing outside. Give me a moment. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all having a swell time. I know I've said that a lot now, but fuck it. We have decently insulated houses in Britain. It's just heat we can't deal with. We're perfectly equipped to deal with cold weather. Despite what the German population may or may not believe. Oh, hello, Larry 3. This is an Empire at War, but there you are. Yes, normal questions. You all know the drill, for the most part. I am here. You ask questions, and I'll attempt to answer them. And as long as it's within the rules of the server, we're all alright. Let's see, first question was, in my opinion, the Royal Navy's finest moment. Trafalgar. It's always got to be Trafalgar. Going up against a fleet that outnumbered you by a factor of 1.5, and still coming out by not just winning, but winning so decisively that the Royal Navy secured dominance of the seas for nearly a century, arguably longer than that. It's got to be Trafalgar. It is fondly remembered in Royal Naval circles for bloody good reason. Darkest moment? For the RN? Oh. There's not been... probably when the RN didn't exist. During the reign of Parliament. Oh no, ending slavery was just the Royal Navy doing what the Royal Navy does best. Actually patrolling and making sure things are alright. What are my thoughts on the Nuestra Señora de la... I can't pronounce that. The Santísima Trinidad, the Spanish 130-gun ship of the line. She... To put it bluntly, she was an overbuilt prestige project by the Spanish Navy. She wasn't that much more effective than ships of the line that had 10 to 20 less guns than her. All the extra guns did next to nothing. And all it really did was make her seakeeping and handling worse. Drac in a Bottle, my first silly question of the day. Give me one fantasy ability that would be best suited for surviving on a World War II battlefield.
What do you mean by fantasy build?
Fantasy ability. No immortality allowed. Well, immortality is not really a get-out-of-jail-free card. You want the ability to heal from or not take damage. So, bulletproof skin, for example. Yeah, bulletproof skin, for example, would be one thing. The ability to heal from wounds instantly.
Item creation.
That would work too.
And I say invisibility. Because not being hit is the best way to not die on the battlefield.
It's true.
Yes, but if you can just, just use your power to immediately generate a shield in front of you.
Yeah, but a shield's not going to stop an artillery shell.
It depends how good the shield is. I mean,
if it's
a wall of tungsten.
If it's fantasy ability, nothing's off the table. So you can just say,
yeah. That's why I said item creation theoretically is always the most ludicrous because here I'm dealing with a bunch of infantry. Well, how about I just detonate this 15-inch shell on top of you, or worse?
Thermonuclear bomb.
Yeah, you could genuinely just case of, well, give me here's my portable nuclear bunker, and good luck. God, now I'm just imagining one of those Fallout-style emergency shelters, just hiding in one of those. Just summon one of those on a battlefield. Don't worry, you'll all be fine, they lied.
Your typical gunnery officer asks, do you think the F8F Bearcat is the true replacement of the F4F Wildcat? You're forgetting the F6F? Hello?
I'm wondering if they actually mean that, potentially, but...
Like, the F6F was the true replacement of the F4F. And then the F8F replaced the F6F. And then so on and ad infinitum.
The overrated naval stories. What do you class as overrated?
Hang on, we've missed some. Regarding the Trinidad... no, the F8F is not... Yeah, it is technically that, but it's more complicated than that. Regarding the Trinidad, any Royal Navy ships you'd put in the same category as overbuilt but not terrible and propagandized out the wazoo? That's a tough one. Probably Agincourt.
In retrospect,
Agincourt's memed, not necessarily
exactly
said
like
to be good.
She's like Trinidad. She's got more guns and more turrets than she needs to. And the way she's built means that she's a hard ship to crew, as in terms of actually how are you storing your boats and stuff.
To be fair, though, she was
it's the only equivalent for the RN. It's the yeah, but the thing is, so was Trinidad. Even in Trinidad's original form.
Can you really blame the Royal Navy for it when it wasn't meant to be theirs to begin with?
Yeah, no, you can't. But then again, I will point out that they asked for any RN ships that I put in the same category. Off the top of my head, that's the only one I can think about. If Drac was here, he'd probably have 5 different answers he could give. But I'm not Drac, so. Any overrated naval stories of World War II on the Allied side? Overrated how? Oh, like talked about endlessly and making it believe it was bigger than it was.
Narvik, maybe?
Yeah, Narvik. Yeah, Second Battle of Narvik. Like, yeah, Warspite went in and wrecked a bunch of German destroyers, but we did lose the Narvik campaign.
Yeah. Like, the only thing I can think of is, like, yes, we destroyed a third of the German destroyer fleet in existence, but
we still lost Norway,
and also it's not like that made much of a difference. Like,
what is the maximum number of turrets on a battleship that is practical? Among the ones that were half successful, I'd rather say the 6-turreted Fuso class, but it had to sacrifice. The Fusos didn't have to sacrifice that much armor, if any at all. The Fusos were armored against their own guns at the time they were built. So were the Ises and the Yugas.
I disagree that Matapan's overrated, because they did sink an entire heavy cruiser group. It's not really been blown out of proportion. It was a crippling loss for the Italians, and they did suffer even battleship damage. Beyond that...
It secured
Most of the time.
it secured the RN a lot of breathing room when the rest of the time the Italians had just been able to run away and force the RN to constantly keep on their toes. It was the first real bit of breathing room that the RN got in the Med.
I also would not argue it's been blown out of proportion either, because it's not like most people say, oh, the Italians didn't do anything after it. No, everyone knows the Italians tried a lot of stuff. They kept doing stuff as well. So, I wouldn't agree Matapan's overrated. Memed on a bit, maybe, but...
What's the maximum number of turrets on a battleship that is practical? Yeah, alright, well, I was in the process of answering this. You basically, you're basically looking at everyone settles on 3 to 4 turrets eventually, because it's just the best way to do it. Once you're heading towards more than 2 guns per turret, you can really start dropping the number of turrets on your ship down and using the space and displacement for other things. So basically, it's either 3 or 4. That's what you're settling into, is either 3 or 4 turrets, but no more or no less than that.
I know. I would argue. Once
you've got beyond the twin turret, and even then, I'd still say that you're really focusing towards 4.
5x3 design.
Because putting... No, I know there were, but... putting that midship's turret in...
Amagi style. No, it's not midship.
Well, yeah, but... No, I know that there's the ones which are aft, but again, the amount of... There's a reason that the Japanese ships had slightly weaker belts than their contemporaries by a long way, because the armor belt had to stretch a fucking ludicrous length of the ship's hull.
I'm not necessarily sure, though, I'd say that 4 is the maximum that you can be while still being practical. I would argue 5 is still practical depending on how you design it.
Yeah, but I'd argue that I'd argue that the amount of design constraints imposed upon modern capital ships, like I say, it's not... I'm not talking about during the Dreadnought era or the Washington Treaty era. I'm talking about when we're talking about a mature battleship, e.g., something built post-Washington. You're looking at 3 or 4, no more. No more.
I would argue then that's then adding extra stuff to the question.
No, it's not.
They never placed a time period around it.
Well, in that case, then we could say 25 turrets is a practical number.
I would agree later 4 makes more sense. Later, earlier on 5. Yeah.
5 works for Dreadnoughts, 4 works for the fast battleship.
I'd say 5 for Dreadnoughts is still too many.
No, because think about it, the Iron Dukes were the best Dreadnoughts aside from the QEs ever built.
I disagree with that. I'd say that the American standards beat an American standard of any kind beats an Iron Duke in a stand-up fight.
I disagree on so many regards.
They all have equal or more guns than an Iron Duke. They all have armor that can protect themselves from their own guns at normal battle ranges. So
Iron Dukes.
But most of them have 2 more guns than the Iron Dukes do, and they have the same speed as the Iron Dukes do. And they do this with 1 less turret.
10 guns.
Yeah. Most of the standards have 12.
Depends on the standard you're talking about.
Only the first class have 10. The rest have 12. And they do this with 1 less turret. And the Royal Navy knew that triples were a thing that they could do, and they chose not to. I know why they chose not to. But the option
around about the whole 10 thing. I'm just giving a quick look. I'm seeing at least 3 ship classes.
What are you talking
about? 10 guns of the stand. Of 10 of the standard.
It's either 10 or 8.
Yes.
No.
Because they have triple, twin, triple.
The Wyomings aren't standards. Sorry. Sorry. No, the Wyomings aren't. The standard class battleships starts with the Nevadas and goes onwards. It's not Texas. Texas and New York are the last battleships pre-standards. From then on, it's standards. Anything before that is not standard battleships. This is a common misconception. Not all US dreadnoughts are standards.
They're meant for the same. I would argue they're meant for the same lines.
No, they're not. The whole point of the standards was to be a separate unit.
But overall, they still are the same battle fleet, doing the same battle doctrines.
Yeah.
Yes, but when I say the standards, I am referring to the standard battleships, Not the New Yorks, not the things that came before. We're talking about the standards versus the Iron Dukes, or to be fair, the British 13.5s as a whole. Admittedly, there are more British 13.5s.
Most things actually, they say Nevadas aren't actually included in them, but fair enough.
Yeah, because think about it. Because I would counter that the Colorados won't classify as dreadnoughts. They're same generation.
The Colorados. The Colorados are dreadnought battleships. What are you talking about?
No, they're super dreadnoughts.
All
the standards are super dreadnoughts.
I'd argue that they're treaty battleships, a lot of the Nelsons and Nagatos.
The Nagatos and the Colorados aren't treaty battleships. The Nelsons are, but the Nagatos and Colorados aren't. They're designed, built, laid down, and most of them commissioned pre-treaty. They're not treaty battleships. Only the Nelsons are treaty battleships in this period. The Colorados and the Nagatos are not. They're pre-treaty.
No, because both get changed for the treaty.
It just depends.
Not in any way that is significant to call them treaty capital ships.
Because remember correctly, early Colorado designs had triple 16s, not twins.
Yeah, but they decided to drop it down to make it simpler. But that wasn't to do with the treaty. That was to do with a desire to get 16-inch guns into the fleet quickly, with World War I ongoing. It was not to do with the treaties.
But in general, going back to the initial one of the question, 4 is definitely best later. Earlier on, 5 works fine, and 6 can also work.
Say 6 can't work though. 6 can't work because 5 gives you the best firing angles.
True.
Yeah, 5 is minimum sacrifice with best firing angles. 6 you go wing turrets.
No, I'm just
or you
very
get
long.
something too long. Or very long.
7 is
At
definitely
that point,
a case of why, unless you're being weird like Brazil was.
What are you talking about?
7 turrets in length is very
that's
odd.
true.
Yeah,
or if you're building a 40,000-ton battleship in the 1910s like Argentina was with the Rivadavias, and having 12 turrets on the ship. Yeah, the Rivadavias.
No. 12. Wait, what?
Sorry, no, hang on. I'm getting my guns mixed up with my turrets. Sorry, 6 turrets, 12 guns.
Say that, like, I want to see this 12 turret dreadnought.
Okay.
That would be amusing.
it's just A25 but a dreadnought.
AAMC Woods M6 asks, what are your thoughts on what a 1980s modernised Montana would have entailed had they been built and kept along with the Iowas? The Montanas are kept, and if the Montanas are built, I'm sorry to say this, that they suffer this. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. They would suffer the same fate the Alaskas would. They cost a lot more than the Iowas to maintain and run. They are only 28 knot ships. They are slow in comparison to the Iowa's 32 knot speed, or 33 knot pizzazz if they're really cranking it. They offer you an additional 3 16-inch guns and heavier armor, but in the post-World War II age, those extra guns and armor don't matter. It's the speed. It's the speed that really lets them down, because 28 knots in the post-war era is just not fast enough for capital ships at all.
Then to go a bit, so assuming that they have been built and kept along lines, could you see them removing a turret?
No.
I could.
The cost involved with removing any of the turrets from any of the Iowas and replacing them with anything at all was so prohibitively expensive. It's the reason the US Navy did not. It's the reason why I continue to shoot down these. What if you put VLS in insert turret barbette here?
Oh no, the VLS wouldn't make sense. I agree that, but I'm just more thinking.
The problem is, unlike with an Iowa,
better benefits out of it.
Unlike with an Iowa, whereas with removing a turret, you could do something funky if you really wanted to pay the money, like putting something on the rear, changing the rear deck to be a helicopter hangar, or something else. What does removing a turret on a Montana give you? Because if you remove
more
one...
room to stick other stuff, basically.
Well, not appreciably. Because of the blast effects of the turret remaining. Because whatever turret you remove will still have another turret near it. And that will still have the same problem with blast effect. So if you're going to remove one turret, you have to remove two. And at that point, you're down to 6 guns. And at that point, you're also... Basically, you're back to having less firepower than an Iowa. And you're still only doing 28 knots. And what are you going to do with this...
Well, you might actually be able to go a bit faster if you divert some of the room that would have been used for magazines and such to enter. Either way, it's a lot of money for no real.
Yeah, exactly. It's not.
But...
This is the reason why. This is the reason why the Alaskas went very early.
Assuming they were built and were kept, you'd probably see an Iowa-style refit of small changes in various areas. I
know exactly what refit they would do. In the 1980s, they'd get refitted with a bunch of vending machines as museum chips.
Yeah,
well, no,
basically,
the whole point of the question, though, is somehow they were built and somehow they have been chosen to be kept.
The thing is, like, there's no, like, the reason the Iowas...
the Iowas shouldn't have been.
The Dragon, the whole point of the Iowas was it gave the US a SAG asset that could throw more missiles, more anti-ship missiles than any other ship in their fleet. I'm not joking. The US could throw more TSAM. The Iowas, once rebuilt, could throw more TSAM in the 80s than any other single unit in the United States Navy. That's why they were. That's why they were rebuilt the way they were. They had more TSAM. They did. They had more TSAM throw weight.
I'm not denying it. It just feels like a very iffy strategy.
Well, no. Think about it.
It's like part of the compared to Sverdalov's, wasn't it?
No, not at all.
This is what I usually hear the most.
No, not at all. It's a common misconception. That was the rationale in the immediate post-war period. It was not the rationale for bringing the Iowas back in the 80s. The rationale for bringing the Iowas back in the 80s was a heavy surface action group lead asset that was survivable, already had flag facilities, and could be retrofitted with the electronics and box launchers to throw an absolute shit ton of Tomahawk sea attack missiles downrange for very limited cost. The cost to build a new platform to throw those missiles downrange would have been, I think it's 25% more than the refits to the Iowas were.
Okay, by the looks of it, the Ticonderogas that would have been in service at the same time have more missiles.
Yes, but that's...
So, that doesn't necessarily...
Well, no, they have more missiles. They don't have... Yeah, the Tychos are a decade later. No, you're thinking of...
In commission, 1980.
Yeah.
Ticonderoga class guided missile cruiser.
Yes, guided missile Aegis cruiser. The Tychos at this point are not sea strike platforms. The Tychos are fleet air defense and interception ships. They are there. Their missiles are standard missile rolling airframe platforms. They are designed to protect carriers and other US strike assets from Russian anti-ship missile swarms. That is the Tycho's role at this point. That's why they have, like I said, no, Dragon, I specifically said volley weight of anti-ship missiles. I didn't say missiles total.
This is what I'm getting confused at, because from what I'm aware, say Bunker Hill and later, which were in service, which were commissioned in 86, have Tomahawk VLS.
They do.
And they have a hell of a lot more than Iowa does, if I'm correct.
Yeah. 86 or later. The Iowas come in earlier than that.
82-ish.
Yes, that's 4 years. That's 4 years. That's a long time.
That's not as long as just a...
That's a long time. That is a long time. It is a long...
That's not a long time.
That's not a long time, Fleet.
That's not a long time.
It is. It is a very long time. It's to be without that capability for 4 years. Like, that's...
Yeah, because nobody else had that capability.
The Russians did. With the Slavas and etc.
And what, you got 2 of them in this time period?
Yeah.
Okay.
Iowas for this?
Okay. Those are 2. That's 2 SAGs you can run. You can run 2 surface action groups with around 2 Iowas.
But it's also a case of
And
the
also,
potential cost of doing so for
But it's a
4
case
years.
of the anti-shipping missile from ships isn't the main striking force of the carrier group.
no, it's not.
It's not.
But so
And
yeah,
it's a case of
yeah. So
the Slavas wouldn't get doctrinally on an issue to the US Navy
okay,
because they don't have a role against it.
I'm just going to point out that the whole point of the Iowas was to be able to run SAG without carriers. That was the whole point. The whole point was that the Iowa would lead a SAG where there's no carriers present. You'd work with
But
Spruances,
there's not
Arleigh
going
Burkes.
to be a group that's in legitimate threat that's not going to have a carrier with it. That's the separation I'm seeing. Because
What?
you're not going to send out a battleship / guided missile battleship in the 80s where there's no thing to protect them from air attack.
They are. That was the whole point. The whole point was that they wanted an asset they could send out without carrier support in the center of a surface action group. Hence the name Surface Action Group, not
Because
not carrier strike group. This is the thing,
But the
Foxo.
case, the issue I'm seeing here is that at this point, a surface action also includes aircraft if you're fighting the Soviets.
That's
Because
no,
the
it's
land-based
no,
area.
it's not. It's not a spec. It's no, you're not. It's not called a surface action group because it's going out to seek surface action. It's called a surface action group because it consists entirely of surface-based vessels with no major submarine or carrier arm included in the strike force. It's not called a surface action group because it's going out looking for scraps with other surface action groups. It's called that because it's a group of surface ships ready for action.
Missing my point.
No, you're missing mine.
My point is if there's any situation where you need an Iowa, you're not going to send something without the ability to protect itself from air attack.
They have escorts for that reason. And
Yes.
they could protect themselves from air attack. I don't understand your point.
Because it's the 80s, the main way defending against an air attack is your own aircraft.
Yes, but also no. By the 80s, ships could reliably defend themselves against air attack. By the 70s, they could.
Yeah. Now, is this an... Because the only nation with capabilities that would require this is the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Are you seeing my point here? It doesn't make sense.
Then why did the USN do it?
Navies have done a lot of questionable stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of
navies
the
have
time.
done a lot of stupid things.
Foxo, it
including
does.
and not limited to
Foxo,
putting a
Foxo, it does.
gun on the Long Beach class.
Foxo, it
If
does.
the cruiser has guns.
It does make sense. The Surface Action Group makes perfect sense.
It doesn't, though.
It does. I've
If
told
you're
you why it
fighting a
does.
major navy, it doesn't make sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's a survivable asset that enables you to concentrate your carrier groups with assets that can, it just.
It doesn't, though.
Anyway,
Anyway, next question. I think
I'm just going to say that Foxo and Dragon are wrong here before we move on.
that's a bit petty, but fair enough.
I will summon Cyclic to make my point. He knows what he's talking about.
And to be fair, I'll take Cyclic over your guarantees. No offense. But...
It's fair. That's fair.
like now if Sarah that gave me all the things to read about missiles, and I've discovered I hate missiles. Return to canon.
Now, where were we? So then there's more discussion about Marapan. Next one, I believe, is why didn't the Royal Navy design Vanguard with triple 15s? Me and Fox were actually discussing this the other day, so that could work into this.
The answer is that Vanguard's fucking complicated.
As I recall, part of the problem is due to them also using the old guns. They have breaches on the sides.
Not really. It's about how the recall works on
Yeah.
the older turret. It's a case of they'd
Leading
have to
to the
modify. They'd
problem.
have to create a new recoil system for it on in triple turrets, which they wanted to do. But then the war kicked off, and they decided
Yeah,
to
we'll just stick with the old.
design for the twin.
Do you think? Yeah, basically because it was expedience. It was like Vanguard was supposed to be an expedient design already. They then turned it up to 11 when the war broke out.
Kinda.
In
Because
typical
they had an idea of going for a 10-gun ship. Is what they wanted, but yeah, go on then, fleet.
were you just wrapping up? Because I feel like that's a very open and shut question.
Yeah, they went for triples on Vanguard. No, they went for twins on Vanguard because they didn't have time to do what they wanted with Vanguard.
And to be blunt, twin 15s, the QEs and Rs were proving that was viable.
That's all it requires.
But yeah, but 10 1542s is better.
Well, yeah, but that's adding needless complexity.
They had working triples at that point. Just like it wouldn't have been a case of lifting the old World War I era turrets. They wanted to build new turrets, a modern style twin and a modern style triple. It was they never actually built the turrets.
Yep, Cyclic just sent me a message saying, "Yep, the Iowas the Iowas were recommissioned because they were needed as missile launch platforms, and the SAG is a surface action group that you deploy when you want to move a bunch of fast capital ships into a bunch of fast fleet assets into an area, but you don't want to risk a carrier, basically."
Okay, so
I would then say that's a little. I guess they want to save that, but the
It's-
idea of just then
it's
risking a
basically-
battleship is.
It's basically because the battleships were riskable. Like, yes, like,
I get that. I'm thinking manpower here. You're basically telling them, yes, we're sending you because we deem you more.
well, no,
expendable than
the Iowas were going to have a
I
like
know.
they're going to be surrounded by spruancers and other things.
Don't
Like,
get me. It's just imagine telling that to the crew members. Why aren't we being sent with the carrier? Well, the carrier's too valuable.
Where were we? Okay.
Just after the Vanguard 15 question.
Let me. I've got it. Just I need you two to keep up with where the chat is right now, and I'll just keep working through the questions.
Everything expendable. Yes.
Yeah.
Technically true.
Do you think the M60 pattern is the stopgap MBT before the M1s or MTB70? No. 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 The M60 is not a stopgap.
the
Oh,
M60 is
I'd argue-
the ultimate
I'd argue
outcome of the Vietnam War.
that yes. Well, the US was already headed towards a 105 mil equipped MBT already. The Vietnam,
But it's stuff like its sheer size compared to other MBTs and its power pack. It's designed for the Vietnam War. It comes after the Vietnam War.
it's still a decent tank for service in Europe.
Yeah, it's a decent tank, but it's sort of much more general purpose than your average MBT, theatre-wise. It's part of the reason the Turks love them so much.
I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but I'd argue that most MBTs could be deployed in any theatre you like. It's not.
Yeah.
It's
Plus
I
small
think
things.
I think
It's small things like a water purification, and
I
it's much bigger on the inside.
I
and it's
think a better
much, much easier
a better
to
way
drain.
a better way to say it would be it's a more livable tank.
Yeah,
Which is that's
That wa-
like it's less a tank that's designed to operate in more theaters, and it's more a tank that's had the livability of it worked into its design for the crew who operate it, basically.
yeah. It designed to be livable in the extremes of the South Chinese jungles, Southeast Asian jungles, which
Yeah.
means it's pretty much livable anywhere. That's
Yeah.
not the Arctic.
Yeah. I know the M60 is not
Really good
formally
tank,
designated a pattern, but it basically is it.
It's the ultimate expression of the patterns and the
Uh,
design philosophy.
the Battle of Trafalgar, somehow all guns of French ships are replaced with 88cm flak 36s with the knowledge to operate such guns inserted into French sailors' heads. Does the UK Navy get a baguette shoved up its ass? Or... Yes! Obviously! What do you think's gonna happen? Like...
Just think about how long of a range advantage they would have over the Royal Navy.
Suppose
And
I'll be
accuracy
discounting
at
the
that.
terrified French screaming from just having their ships magically change.
I'd assume they probably somehow they know how these guns work.
No, that was part.
Instant.
That was part of the question. Yeah, knowledge to operate such guns.
Actually, no. Here's the question. Would the ship survive firing them guns?
The 88's recoil is manageable, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a-
because
it's-
the thing is the
it's
mounts.
mount.
Well, yeah, the fixed mount, but the mount itself is designed to absorb the recoil. If you look at 88, the gun recoils quite smoothly on the mounting itself. If you ever look at 88 that's been properly in placed or is fixed firing, you'll see the gun recoils quite smoothly. There's barely any transmission of that movement to the mounting point itself. Most of that recoil is contained by the recoil mechanism.
While I tend to agree with you,
And the thing
they're
is,
not mounted on wood.
well, that's true, but ships have to handle 32-pounder cannon going off with nothing but wood.
we noticed the entire.
Yeah.
But that's because they're on a gun carriage, and the entire carriage moves backwards. It's not bolted to the ship.
Well, maybe we put the 88s on a gun
Unless
carriage.
these are,
Maybe-
carriage mounted.
I mean, why not? I mean, if it's the spirit of the question,
Because that's utterly ludicrous, and I could just see fires cannon one way, carriage jumps the other. Equal impartation of momentum would occur.
Also, would they fit?
I think that's academic at this point. I think the question was
Either way,
MacGuffin
if
it
it
in.
happens, the Royal Navy's done for.
Yeah, basically, there's no
Like,
Nelson. Nelson doesn't.
Just
Nelson.
the French Gmod clip.
Nelson. Yeah, Nelson doesn't even get to break the line. All his ships are smoking, sinking wrecks before he gets there. And I mean all. I don't mean some. I mean all.
Like, yeah. Like, what are they meant to do here?
Um. Where was I? I had a question. Here we are.
I guess my question
Fleet,
was, why
you-
monochrons there?
Fleet,
Oh,
Darcidius asks, you mentioned once that if the rush development of the British 15-inch gun failed, the QEs would have gotten 13.5s. How would the later Bayerns have looked now? Would they have gotten triple 12s or continue with the 15s? And how would the service of the QEs look like if they had 13.5s? The service of the QEs doesn't change. They probably put the weight into either additional armor or additional speed. Because the whole point of the QEs was to sacrifice turret for armor. Sorry, for speed, and putting another turret back in would compromise both the ship's lines and the speed coefficient of the engines, etc., etc. So they'll probably use the extra weight to either have triple 13.5s, but I doubt that because the British don't have a triple turret design worked up, and again, the whole point of the QEs are a fairly rapidly put together, thoroughly, but rapidly put together ship design.
Would development of the Bayerns really change much?
No, the British,
Right.
because the thing is, the Germans had rumours that the British were working on a 15-inch, and also the Germans were looking to upgun their ships anyway, to 13.8 and 15 anyway. So regardless of what the British do, the Germans are making the leap anyway. That's just happening. The Germans were aware that the 12-inch that was basically... There's a reason the Königs were the last, because the Germans were aware. The 12-inch has
Bayerns, which were moving to 15s, was it? Those also some of the battle cruisers.
yeah, the Mackenzers were going to go 13 point. They were going to have a class of 13.8 armed battle cruisers in the Mackenzers, and then the Ersatz Yorks, which is basically just replacement for the York class armored cruisers, were going to be the first ones with 15s. That's all the talk about the Tychos and the Iowas.
Because then they also had a few other really weird design ideas,
Yeah.
like those 5x2 design they had.
I'm actually looking for.
We're still in the QEs, aren't we?
Yeah,
That's what was
no,
being
no, 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 no. I'm looking for another question. And Darcy, this is asked the first one. Like, there's like a gap with no questions at all. How
Well,
would the
I guess
13.5 QE's service have looked like at Jutland? Virtually no difference. Because changing the ship doesn't change the crew, doesn't change the commanders. The only thing that's changed is the ships are perhaps slightly better armoured or slightly faster. In either case, this doesn't affect their performance at Jutland, because a 13.5-inch shell is still going to hurt. It's not going to hurt as much as a 15-inch
How fast do you think
round.
they could get it up, Tim?
You're only talking a knot
25
or two. A knot or two. It's we're not talking about enough weight being lost to have a high jump in speed, but a knot or two, so they might actually hit their 25 knot design speed.
I was just almost wondering then, as just would they try and get included in the battle cruiser fleet earlier, perhaps?
Well, no.
If they could get enough speed out of them.
Well, no. The whole point of the QEs was to have a fast wing to the battle fleet. That was the point. To give the commander of the
But I
Grand
guess
Fleet a
some
wing.
arguments, in case of they're fast enough to be battle cruisers. Why aren't they here? But yeah.
Well,
I get what you mean.
Well, no, because the whole point is the battle cruisers are the scouting element. They are designed to go toe to toe with the Germans' scouting elements, but BT is following doctrine when he sees Shear come over the horizon and immediately books it towards Jellicoe at high speed. The whole point of the QEs and the ships that were to follow them was to give the Jellicoe, or at that point whoever was commanding the Grand Fleet, because it wasn't set in stone when the QEs were designed, a fast wing of ships of equivalent toughness to his own vessels that he can use to do maneuvers that his 21-knot ships can't think about doing. So let's say he sees an isolated enemy battle squadron, or a enemy battleship has fallen out of line, is drifting off to starboard. He can send the QEs off on a dash to go in, kill that, and then come back. So their service at Jutland is unchanged. They still come riding into BT's rescue. Warspite still gets hammered but survives.
Depending on what happens, actually, she might not have the whole issue of having to circle around a whole bunch because her rudder gets damaged.
Well,
Depends on how much the armor will matter.
It's
Quick thing, I've looked through some of my notes. Because I've looked into these a while back for the Admiral class. And there was a couple of design proposals with three triple 13.5-inch turrets instead. Which, you think you can see them doing that?
Well, they could do that,
Possibly.
but like I say, it's all down to the fact that the British want the QEs yesterday. Going with a 15 was a risk. Like, they were asked to develop it on a timescale that was ridiculous to anyone else when it came to developing naval gunnery. Started
design October 1911, in service 1914.
Yeah, it's
built and actively sailing. So.
Darcy, not meaningfully, as me and Foxo have said. You're looking at a knot, maybe a knot and a half to 2 knots speed increase. It's an increase, but it's not enough of an increase that you're gonna notice. It's a tactical, not a strategic speed increase.
I'm still not even sure you would get that, because I was thinking that partly for conversation, but also, are the gun weight really that heavy? Going from a 13.5 to a 50? I can't imagine there's actually that much extra weight.
I'm just looking at it, and the fact is, A, it's quite a bit of weight, and B, the designs that don't have the 15s have a slimmer bow. So, I'm probably better hydrodynamic because of it.
So they might actually get faster than we think.
But not really, because it's a case of, they'll be tactically faster, but battle cruisers are in 28, 30 knots a bit.
Yeah, Tiger's 28, for
instance.
instance.
Designed at this point. yeah, they're coming up admirals and the renowned repulse are coming up out.
39.
So
Yeah. What would my Brackman ask? What would my ideal fleet look like for engaging the IJN in 1944? I'm just gonna go and grab the U.S. Navy. Like, I'm sorry, but what do you want
And
from
that's
me?
boring. I would grab the British fleet just for the fun.
It doesn't matter.
Some
It doesn't matter. Take whichever one of the two you like. Like the ideal fleet for engaging the IJN in 44 already exists.
Like, give me a couple of the,
Like they already exist, Chief.
no,
Like I don't know what to tell
Implacables and
you.
such. Like,
I don't know what to tell you.
just replace all the Essexes with Audacious's, and you got the perfect fleet.
yeah, just good luck. Just good luck hurting us.
Because it's just case of you have a large carrier group, and you're not as vulnerable. Like, was it Hancock that was crippled by a kamikaze hit?
A fair number of US carriers had issues with kamikazes.
Yeah. It was
It's the whole
Essex
armored
that
versus
took one
unarmored
about
debate again.
and almost burned down.
So next question is: do you think the German blitzkrieg through the Ardennes in 1940 is overrated because the Western Allies drove through Paris and northern France in 1944 at a faster speed than the Germans did? Yes, the German blitzkrieg through the Ardennes is massively overrated. The Germans rolled 25 nat 20 dice, all on 20s, in order to achieve the victory during the Battle of France. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. There were multiple options that if something had gone slightly different, if the Germans hadn't found a petrol station at that exact moment, or other, like literally, there's a bunch of tiny little things that if they hadn't happened, that are completely unrelated to the Germans' mastery of blitzkrieg, or skill with their tanks, or their tank design, that led to the victory during the Battle of France. Most, like...
Yeah, the Blitzkrieg and the Wilhelmskrieg comes after France, not before France.
Like, I'm just gonna say this, the Battle of France was all luck, basically zero skill.
Well, not gonna say zero skill, but
Well,
luck
no,
was
not
definitely a plus.
not zero, but it's far more luck than the history books like to give credit for. Because that gets rid of the narrative of Blitzkrieg, conquering the world, which is pop history's way in which the Germans win the early part of the Second World War.
But you can't take away that there was an element of skill to it, though. Just
I'm not
from the command level.
Oh no, I'm not
On the
denying.
general level.
Oh no, I'm not denying that there was, and that the Germans were far more flexible when it came to their ability to coordinate their forces across a broad front against the French. The British were actually more mobile and far better equipped in terms of communications equipment than the Germans were in 1940. Like, the BEF is fully mechanized and fully motorized. Every squad has a radio in the BEF. The BEF is what the Wehrmacht wishes it was.
Yeah, and just like the Wehrmacht is a very small part of the British Army. Well, just like the Panzer Division is a small part of the British Army.
The British Army was a fully motorized force by 1939. That's what a lot of people forget. It's only when we get our arse handed to us in France that we have to go back to having infantry divisions that aren't mobile. And it's a bit of a culture shock for the army in the days after Dunkirk. Wait, what do you mean we have to start marching around again? We have trucks for that and universal carriers. We've had them for like...
I suppose, because what's it called? The colonial army's not the British army, is it? The
No.
colonial army.
No, those are colonial garrisons. They're not... They are part of the British Army, but they're not what the British Army considers its force to go and actually fight a peer opponent.
Yeah, because they were still they were largely cavalry force still.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising that people learn that the Carden Lloyd carrier, the British Army adopted a mechanized tracked artillery towing vehicle in the late 1920s.
Hey, the Cardinal Lloyd's pretty decent.
Like-
technically, it comes earlier because they started implementing them in the First World War for the heavy artillery.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, the gun carriage. I'm talking about a move to actually remove the horse from the movement of artillery. The British Army are the first to do it.
Fair
Just
enough.
completely. Like, there were like the gun carrier Mark 1s in the First World War, and some efforts at motorization, but the British were the first to go in the mid to late 20s. Can we remove the horse from the
Entirely.
army? And then they realized, with our small main force, we actually can. And so they did.
Then they realised all the asterisks.
Yes, but the asterisks didn't appear until all of their nice, shiny, mechanized equipment was lying wrecked in France. And they were like, ah.
It's that the plan for the mobilization of the
Oh yeah, the whole point.
reserve division were still infantry
Oh yeah.
based.
Oh, completely. But in September '39, before the war breaks out, the professional British Army is a fully mobile, mechanized force. In a way the Wehrmacht never was. No, the Wehrmacht never was. Throughout its entire existence. They never came close. The only force that came close to what the Germans thought they were was the US Army in Europe. No,
it's-
no horses. Say hello to Ford, General fucking Motors.
Yeah, because I do draw parallels to the BEF being a singular, heavily motorized part of the army, part of the larger British Imperial Army.
By that point it was, yeah.
And a parallel to the Panzer divisions being a separate, specialized, motorized forces of the Wehrmacht.
Oh, I would agree with you, but here's the thing. The British Army's supply train was fully motorized. The British Army's communication logistics was fully motorized. The important bits that made the British Army function were fully motorized. That's the difference, Foxo. Not that the troops weren't fully motorized, but that everything else was always fully motorized. The German army never got there.
Okay. That makes enough sense for me. Yeah, I hate World War II.
World War II is probably the most interesting part, I'd find. Because World War One through World War Two.
Yeah, World War
When it
One's
gets-
fascinating.
When
with
you get
the-
starting to get to mid-late Cold War, it gets boring.
Yeah. It's just
The
the
missiles.
funky artillery firing patterns are getting artillery timing down to literal minutes without the use of radio.
I think next one's from Rune, theoretically. That's kind of a question, that one.
No, that's just a statement.
No, how long do they last in this scenario? That's a question.
Which scenario is it?
Weird thing about Battle of France has
Rune, I've already answered this. I've answered this question for you 3 times over 3 different ramblings, and my answer's the same here. Without detailed knowledge of where the battle lines come to rest, what part of France and Belgium the Germans control when they're stopped, what's the state of the French army, what's the state of the French Air Force, what's the state of the, it'd be something you'd have to war game out. But if the Germans are checked, checked, haha, because they're using checked tanks. You're looking at a war in Europe ending probably in 1944. Basically, because if the Germans can't marshal their strength eastwards to go to deal with the Russians, because the Italians aren't much help because the Even as France was collapsing, the Italian offensive into France was being stalled by the French troops still fighting them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if France hasn't fallen, Mussolini's like, this is just World War One again. No, not. I'm not doing this. The reason Mussolini joined is because he felt the war was going to be over in a couple of months. France had fallen. By most common logic of the time, Britain's best choice at that point was to negotiate peace. If France doesn't fall, then Il Duce is going to go, yeah, this is just going to be World War One all over again. I know how that ends. Germany, you're on your own.
I can see him to a degree not joining in, but that requires, because they do have their sights set on Egypt and Africa.
Oh no,
So-
no. Here's the thing. I get what you're saying, but here's the thing. Il Duce isn't ready for war in 1940, and he knows he's not.
Yeah, because I can't see him joining in 1940, but 1941, when the British Army's fully stuck in France, just going.
Yeah, well,
I'm
again,
just gonna
but again, it would
make
depend.
Twice like Turk tried.
It would. The thing is, it depends on. Like I say, it depends entirely on how the scenario plays out.
Yeah.
But what if
the war in Levant?
what if what if the Germans got a natural 20 during the retreat of the BEF? How will the loss of the BEF affect the immediate war afterwards? That's going to sting. The loss of all that personnel is going to sting. Because one thing the BEF was useful for was not just for the population, the manpower that was saved. It's the experienced manpower that was saved. Those privates, sergeants, lance corporals, etc., from the BEF, they became the NCOs of the privates coming up through conscription. They helped form an experienced corps, an anchor around which basically.
I'd argue the British Army still got that though.
Well, no, they do, but
It's a
not.
lot-
But not.
'cause it's like cycling out of the Middle East was used for a lot of training, and a lot of officers were NCOs were pulled out of the Middle East.
No, you are right.
Same modernization.
But can they really afford to do that to the same extent when they've just lost? This is the thing. It's
I suppose.
it's
There's one thing there's one thing the British aren't lacking is trained manpower. They have a lot of it in colonial service. Goddamn shades! Fuck off!
high-ranking personnel. I don't know who was with the BEF exactly. I know a lot about the general sweeps of the Battle of France, but in terms of the actual personnel, I'm not very good when it comes to history of personnel on either side during the Second World War. I'm very good at battles, I'm very good at logistics, I'm very good at certain weapon systems. What I'm not good at is personnel. So I don't know anything about the personal life of Erwin Rommel, or his mood swings. I don't know anything about the personal life of Goering, blah blah, or a bunch of Allied generals or admirals.
I think it might actually help in some respects if a bunch of those guys get killed.
It's hard to say.
Could help unify doctrine with those that just working in Africa.
Possibly.
Yes, next question.
There's been notable lack of them.
Must be a slow Monday. Oh, by the way, I do. There is actually. I'm glad you two are here, and that's part of the reason why I'm glad you two showed up. Because there is something that I did want to discuss. So, for a while now, I've been in the very early planning stage of the cross-server War Thunder tournament I've been planning to run.
Oh, yes, you mentioned.
And I finally started narrowing down the specifics, and I wanted to run them by both you guys and the Ramblings audience in general. So, here's how I see this going down. You can have an 8-player team or a 4-player team. The 8-player team can have one 6.0 vehicle, two 4.0 vehicles, and the remaining players must be in 3.0 vehicles or less. The 4-player team can have one 6.0 vehicle, two 5.0 vehicles, and then the remaining vehicle is 3.0 as normal. Each team gets 3 respawns each. The 4-person team may get 1 more, which they may assign to a person of their choosing. So basically, they have 1 extra spawn to assign to whatever person they want to assign that to. If you may bring in any member of your team may bring in an aircraft, but you're only allowed 1 aircraft on the battlefield at one time. You can choose, if you wish, to bring in a second aircraft, but doing so will cost whatever person does it 2 of their spawn points. So basically, if they choose to do it, you're going to have that person be down to basically 1 tank use and 1 aircraft use, rather than 2 tank uses and 1 aircraft use.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah, that
In
just
a
sounds
small-
overcomplicated.
Well, my problem. No, that's not my problem. My problem is then you'll probably, unless that team's got a dedicated AA, or the enemy team, they kind of just explode to 2 planes.
Okay, so you
Like,
think just keep it
2
to...
planes would be enough. Well, I'd almost argue no planes, because as soon as you include planes in a tank battle, in War Thunder especially, things go wrong. Well, that's fleet. Right, for people saying like F-16s, blah blah blah. The limit would be 6-0 at most anyway for a singular person. Like,
It's not
so
the case,
probably
you
no
get
more
stuff
than
like-
6-0.
Isn't the Sky Raider at 6-0?
6-3, I believe. Or am I thinking of the wrong one?
It's just a case of against 4 players, you have the big late war cast that can just annihilate the entire.
Well, here's the
team.
thing: you're not allowed to. That's one thing I was going to mention. The aircraft has to be a 3.0 player. It can't be one of your higher ranking players.
Still somewhat like a duck, if I remember correctly. And without an AA, a duck's gonna just run wild. Because that's a duck, that's the mosquito of the cannon. That's
Or,
the
if you want another
XP.
terrible example, someone could just bring a Wellington with a 4,000-pound bomb and wipe a team.
Yeah. Or it's that American twin engine with the M357 in it. No, 75 in it.
Okay, so keep it just the tanks then. Problem is, if I keep it,
If
problem is if I keep it just the tanks, then that basically will have people saying that one of the things about realistic battles is the ability to have aircraft involved in it, which because you're denying teams
No
an
offense,
ability to redress
it's
the
a ground
balance.
battle, it should be about ground vehicles. I'm
Yeah.
sure most people who play War Thunder, especially during the latest event, was getting bloody sick and tired of cast spam for people trying to grind Strike Eagle. It's not fun when you die 6 times in your own spawn.
Fair enough.
Eh.
All right. So we'll just keep it.
It's fun if you're the pilot, Sidious. It's not fun if you're the one constantly being spawn camped by a plane.
Okay. I have a question.
Actually,
The thing is,
it's
Fox.
the Yak 1 at Blow 3
I don't know. Foxo.
and that's a fight with a 37.
Yeah, you've got a point. So, okay, let's remove aircraft for now. Just to keep... So, remove aircraft for now. So, one of the things I want to do is I want to make it so that 4-player teams can fight 8-player teams and have a chance of both sides winning.
That won't work.
If we have 2 6-0s and 2 5-0s on the 4-player team and 1
Numbers
6-0...
advantage.
I mean, I get that, but 3.0 tanks against even a 5.0 or a 6.0, that's just going to be a bounce. And
Sherman
then
105.
Let's see, you've got Sherman 105, you've got Chihal Long Gun, you've got the 105 Mortar,
Hell, someone could be a meme and bring out an Archer.
Archer.
Promise,
Uh,
promise,
but
I
yeah,
want to.
Weekend Carrier
The
is
problem
bringing
is,
out-
the problem is, I want to make it so that people who have large friend
Oh,
groups
right.
or
Yep,
servers
recommend
and
style.
small, basically, so that we can have large teams and small teams.
The only way I can see it working is if it's just flat teams of 6. Because a team of 4, unless you're doing King of the Hill, is way too small.
All right.
Also, this would all
That's
have to require you would have to be on the smallest of maps if you're doing 4 players.
That's a point. Yeah. Whereas with 6
we're
you can.
talking-
Whereas with 6 you can actually do. That's a point.
Even then, you still want to stick to small. Otherwise,
Yeah,
single cat
just-
or battle, and you want small maps.
The problem with single cap is that it means that there's no room for strategy at all.
Yes,
It's
there
just,
is.
It's just
Yeah,
all
there is.
charge
Do
at
you see
single.
do you see how much flanking there usually is on those single camps? What's it? Camp maps.
It's like, Flea, I made my sort of. I showed you the hard way that there's a lot of room for flanking on those maps.
I might just make it. The problem is, I want to have decently sized. I'm going to go for 8-player minimum then.
But then you've got problems of people who can't get 8 players. That would require at least 6. So if you want to go for that, that requires 16 players minimum for even just one round. And we didn't get that during, we would only occasionally get that during the community event. Now, so
But
even
6 is
there
a
are
small
others.
map. 'Cause that's what other
So,
comps tend
like,
to do.
Now, hopefully other people who are in the chat who are listening would also be interested in this, but just say going off my example, if I was to make a team, what would likely end up happening would be I would try and get myself, Foxo. I would then probably try and grab perhaps Benno.
Bear in mind, I'm going to
others.
be hosting this, so I am not partaking. I'm
There's a reason I
deliberately.
didn't mention you.
I am deliberately being a neutral observer.
Well, yeah, I would assume someone has to spectate to watch or stream.
Yeah, because it would be me, Dragon, Mep, Benno.
God, we're getting him.
No, because Mep memes, but he's really fucking good.
Like, so, even for a relatively close group here, getting 6 is doable, but it's a little bit tricky. Getting 8 would be problematic. So say you could probably get 6 people relatively easily. For say the various people in the chat who
Foxo?
go, "Ooh, pass that on to friends."
Actually, I'm just gonna boot War Thunder now. I'm just gonna check some BRs because I wanna. Because
I'm on the wiki currently.
Sorry
if this is not necessarily the ramblings people signed up for, but this is
Hey,
technically
hey! They signed up for ramblings. There is no
Oh.
set schedule unless I say there is.
Oh no. M109s are available.
What?
M109 is 6.0.
I thought it was 6-3.
6.0
Is that just the British one?
RB. Well, it's the German one is 6.0. Kaboom! There goes your tank.
Well, yeah, but that's just very
For any-
silly.
For any of you 109 players, I hate you. Stop blowing holes in me bloody tank.
Because it's also like, just like it's the Tiger 2, the first one's pretty much
6.7.
almost invulnerable. Never mind.
6.7.
Yeah,
Because it's
that's why.
pretty
That's
much
available.
invulnerable to early tank.
that's why I said 6-0
6.0 would allow stuff like Centurion at most, for instance.
and some of the Tiger ones. So you've
you
got
get Tiger 1s, Panther.
So basically, you've got one prestige tank, a heavy hitter that's got slightly more armor, slightly more survivable. And if it runs into any of the smaller tanks, it's likely just going to be a flat out kill on that
I did
smaller
also just have
vessel.
a thought here. So what you're telling me, Fleet, is you're trying to arrange a Girls and Panzer tournament, basically.
Yes.
Oh, that's workable. That
Although the other server that wants to participate in this, that being Rex and Rex's server himself, yes, I have been
Right.
discussing this with Rex's hangar, has said he does want air and naval battles to be in this as well.
Oh. Right.
Although
Well,
not,
it-
although,
Solely
although,
air and solely naval, or
although,
hybrid.
oh no, all of them. So he wants ground battles, he wants air battles, and he wants naval battles.
Right.
Because the way I can see you doing this is you have the traditional thing where you have like the traditional ground only.
Mm-mm.
Like, you know how they do at the World Cup? We get the class of 6. And the top 3, or everyone plays each other, 3 go through.
Yep.
And then the remaining 3 have a mini league that's done in air combat. Then you
Okay.
get 4 that go through. And then those 4 have the semi-finals, then the finals.
I'm just thinking Navy could be tricky due to the utter hell that is naval RB. Oh, not a naval RB. Naval BR balancing.
Well, no.
It would be interesting.
A lot of
It would be
people don't
interesting.
play naval.
Well,
I
the
would
thing is,
say medic,
naval.
but it could be
The thing is, naval is not going to be based on BR. I'm throwing BR out the window for
Right,
naval,
good.
and instead basing it
Good,
on
good.
ship classification, year of. Because we're a naval server, I can do this accurately without being fear of people saying I'm wrong. So I'm gonna arrange the ships in a class system with power ratings based on what they are: armor, protection, firepower.
Now, is that based off War Thunder or historical? Because remember, there's a big difference between historical and War Thunder.
War
Keep
Thunder,
in mind
not
that.
historical. Because
So then keep in mind,
I'm
how
aware
do you
that some.
balance the fact that HMS Renown can be one-shot killed by 4-inch guns.
Well, she has Greek armor, so.
Yeah.
As in,
Right, like-
you can hit her armor belt with 4-inch and overpressure the ammunition.
And it kills Renown.
Well,
Renown is very like.
well,
I know that's
well,
an amusing example,
yeah, but no, but the thing is, if that's a well-known problem, if a team chooses to pick Renown as their capital ship, then they're basically rolling the dice and saying, do we think her speed and
Ooh,
guns are going
good
to...
point, Brackman. Black Prince is available at 6-0.
Well, yeah,
that
of course it
could
is.
be fun. KV-220 would be a pain,
Actually-
but it's workable.
Because the Black Prince would be absolute hell for anyone trying to fight it.
No, because that it wouldn't be unkillable.
Well, no,
Don't
I think I'm
aim
going
for
to
it
ban
and-
premiums.
90mm side
I think
armor.
I'm going to ban
Oh,
premiums.
it puts at the
Well,
backs.
then you've just killed most lineups.
Well, the thing is, it's
Yeah.
not... What do you mean killed most lineups? You get 3 spawns. You're not going to be using a
Right,
full
but-
lineup.
Yeah, but as in, most things working together is a lineup. So, for instance,
Okay, yeah, that's the thing.
what's Britain going to do?
Well, thing is, it's not limited by nation.
I know, but as in, if you're going to play Britain,
Okay,
you've got maybe 2 options here that
okay,
you would viably go for.
okay.
Send Mark 1,
Mhm.
and actually you couldn't even go with the other one, which I was thinking, which would be, what's called Comet, because Comet's 5-3.
Well, you... I think...
So
I
you
think
could have
I
that.
think you're thinking about this in terms of a normal battle where you'd have unlimited spawns, or you'd be going for SP or
No,
Silver Lions.
I'm thi-
You're not.
Eh.
You're not. The thing is,
Because I'm thinking about this as you would do in arcade, which you get 3
Yeah, which
spawns.
you have 3 spawns in arcade battles. Now,
And
if
it's a
we're going off
case
the
of-
idea once you lose a tank, it's done with, we'll say.
yeah, and
Or-
here's the thing you're
No, I
forgetting.
get you don't need every
You're-
nation to be competitive, but
and also more
otherwise
to the
we are going
point.
to see the same lineups, which is boring. You don't want
Well,
everyone running the same tanks because they're meta.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. If I don't go with,
I would say
if
allow
thing is,
premiums just because you get more interesting combinations. Like, for instance,
okay,
some mad
then
person
what
could bring out
about
top
then what
2.
about the people who don't have any premiums, or the teams that don't have access
Well,
to
then
premiums?
they've still got competitive tanks in the tech trees, as you were just
In this
saying.
case, if you might have to ban a 1 or 2,
Mm.
but because you're thinking this was
Like- Allowing premiums increases the variety of what might be seen, as long as people accept what might be available. Like, to be fair, you say Black Prince is invincible, but Black Prince can be killed by 5-0 vehicles and 4-0, if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, Dragon, as we saw against Benno, you has to be above you,
No,
and
either go for the side or the rear.
Oh, sorry.
Which
I mean, I've killed
could
Black
eat-
Prince in my Tigers. I've killed
well,
I've killed Black Prince in my fucking
will
Tigers.
go through a Black Prince.
Yeah, I've
Like-
killed.
Like, I'm thinking about the other tanks, the 3.0 stuff, because
Yeah, but the 3-0s...
That's the point.
pound a count.
That's the
6
point.
pound.
That's the point, Foxo. That's the whole point.
To be fair, can many 3-0s kill most 6-0 heavies?
That's the point, Fox.
Can they? Like,
The whole point of
unless,
this is
unless
that...
you choose to be tactical and, you know, play tactics, they go to the sides and such.
Which is what this whole thing is designed to encourage.
Yeah, because
I would
the
have.
thing
I'm definitely not saying Black Prince is not
right, can I
good,
finish,
'cause it
Dragon?
would be
Can I
good.
finish?
Go on.
Because the Black Prince is the one I was specifically calling out because it's got 90 mil of side armor.
Okay. Then you...
Like a lot of 3.0s physically can't get through it.
Oh,
If
okay.
it's at any sort of angle, at any sort of range.
Yeah,
And
okay. I don't
Gearbox
see...
is at the back that stops it catching fire.
Okay, I don't
So-
see... I don't see the problems...
I love
The problem with what you're raising here. It's a 6.0 heavy that is very hard to kill for 3.0s. I mean, I understand what...
It's not hard to kill, it's virtually impossible to kill.
Okay. I'm not seeing the problem here.
To be fair, my counterpoint then is, say, take the Sherman Jumbo. Also is pretty much unkillable by most lower tier vehicles.
'Cause it's still just a Sherman on the side. And as long as you don't
Yeah.
face plant into it, it's quite killable.
No offense to Drummies, but no matter what drum it is, there's going to be problems. Just saying it's not going to be fun to play the tournament will be unfun, I think is being is really down. Might there be problems? Yes, but there's also potential interesting stuff here.
Just six
Yeah,
is
people
a
say
really
want to
bad
ban
point,
Black
but it's a really awkward point for it. It's like 5-7 sort of first Panthers and Tigers. That could
Nope,
work.
all Panthers were moved up to 6-0.
Because here's the thing, Foxo.
Including the first one.
Here's the thing,
What,
Foxo.
you mean the proto?
Yeah, thing is, here's the thing, Foxo. Every single BR I pick is going to be awkward. I'm choosing nice, round numbers.
Oh, no, sorry, Panther D's apparently still 5-3.
Because
Okay.
it's easy for people to remember. It's easy for people to think, right, what... Because bear in mind, you don't have to be aiming to be at the BR. 2 or 3 bits either side are still fairly effective. So, like, for example, the 5.0 tanks, because it's going to be, I think it's... Let me think, if I've got 6, have 160... Yeah, I have 160, 150, 140. Because that
Yeah,
means...
okay, so,
And then you have the
ones back then.
and then you have the
The
remaining
most
tanks.
5-7s moved to 6-0.
And then you have the remaining tanks be 3-0. So let's say, for example, you're Britain. You have you have 160 pick, so that'll obviously be a Centurion Mark 1.
It's a Centurion because you've got no other option.
You have
Basically.
one 5.0, so your choices are either Avenger. So basically, what do you want? Do you want more heavy anti-tank firepower? Then you take either an Avenger or a Firefly, or as your 5.0 pick, do you want something that's going to act as a shield for your lighter tanks, or something heavily armoured for your 17 pounds of behind? You could pick a Churchill 7.
The whole point would be you need a big tank to take out a big tank. You're not expecting the 3-0s to fight the 6-0s directly.
Like
They are. Well,
Yeah, some
3-0s could, as we've said.
Yeah, but if they your 3-0s are supposed to be your mass in essence of your team. Like they are your scouts, they're your scouts, they're your map control, they're providing information for the larger tanks, they're engaging the enemy's 3-0 tanks.
The only thing that's a shame is that you can't. The Cromwell's what's called 3-3.
Hence why I've not gone with Hence why I've not gone with 3-3. I am
And
deliberately
a bunch of Cromwells marauding.
To be fair though, the Crusader with the 6-pounder is available, and all the Valentines are.
Well, the thing is, the Cromwell has the ability of being immune to autocannons. The Crusader doesn't.
So let's take another example as a nation. I mean, obviously you don't have to pick from the same nation, but let's use let's just give examples to the audience. So let's say Soviet Union. So as your 6.0 tank, you could go with an IS-1. Or you could go with an ISU 122S or an SU-100 if you want something heavy. Or a T-34-85 with the improved 85. For your 5.0, you could go with another heavy. You could go with a KV-85. You could rock up with 2 heavies. That's a viable option if you wanted to go with Soviets. For your 4.0 pick, again, you could roll up with 3 KV-1s. And the thing is, like teams can have themes if they wanted to. And for your 3.0 picks, you've got You probably wouldn't want to take your 3-0 picks from the Russians. If you're building a
Most of the
lineup.
Russian stuff becomes good around 3-7-ish.
Yeah. You're basically for the Russians. If you're doing a Russian lineup fully, you're basically looking at T50s for your 3-0 picks, which isn't a bad tank, but it's going to struggle against things like Crusader, Valentine, as its 3.0 rivals. For the US, the US is a really interesting choice. So, as your 6-0 pick, you're looking at Sherman Jumbos as your 6-0 pick, or Sherman 76ers. Because the reason I say that is because for your 5-0 pick, you could go with an M6. An M6A1 is your 5-0 pick. For your 3.0, you could go with an M105. You could go with a 105, but you could also go with an M3 Lee.
Why would you go with a Lee? Who in their right mind would bring a Lee out? Hello, Meta.
Hey, hello.
An M3 Lee would get butchered. Sorry, go on, Fox.
Yeah, it's also a case of outside of the Germans with the Panzer IV, the Panzer IV, the long 75.
3-3.
Yeah, it's 3-3.
It's a Robust 2-7.
That's 3.
No, it's
3-3.
3-3.
3-3 because it's a very good gun.
Like,
Yeah, because it was the one without the side skirts.
like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
too.
4F.
like the
and
British,
4F2
like the
is
British are in a
really
really
good.
good. Do you want to know something? The British are in a really good
We're in a
position
really
for their.
bad spot.
No,
we're in it.
no. 3.0, they can bring Valentine 9s and Valentine
Why would you bring
6s.
Valentine?
Because
Well,
it's a relatively mobile tank with decent armor and a good
It's
gun.
not.
Wait, do you know what the top
It's
speed of it
not.
is? Its top speed's 25 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, the Valentine
can't
sort
get
of
to it.
thing is getting a 75 at low BR and having relatively good armor. The armor
I would
doesn't
argue
matter, and the
with that.
75 doesn't matter. 'Cause yeah, there isn't the 6-pounder one.
There
At
is
2.7.
Valentine Mark 9 6-pounder.
Yeah.
3-0.
Yeah, you can use the 6-pounder Valentine
But that's still
as
slow
your
as
main.
hell.
Oh, it
On
is.
It's low as hell,
Well, look,
and its main assets is armor.
Due to how it's mapped.
The thing is, here's the thing. These are your opinions. These are only options. People may think
But
differently.
no, I'm just
They
saying
may.
that we're just disagreeing with the idea of you calling the Valentine a mobile tank.
It is.
It isn't.
You guys are just used to running around in Cromwells. You've been so warped by the
No.
Cromwells that you've forgotten what
No,
real
it-
mobility is.
15 kilometers an hour fleet is not real mobility. Anyone
The
else
Tog
think
is a
that?
mobile. The Tog 2 is a mobile tank in this
No,
bloody
it's
game.
No.
When you guys are done arguing about technicality, like to put the legal system to shame, I have a question for the chat.
No, we've been waiting for that. Go on.
Okay, does anybody know what I'm talking about when it comes to that one guy that's driving a boat going? Blah, 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 blah,
Yes,
blah,
yes, I know.
Yes. I've been trying to find that for ages.
Oh, it's
I
called. It's called. 3 Men in a Boat
Wait,
to say
don't you
nothing
like
of the
me?
dog.
Three men of
the
boat,
Russian-
nothing to dog. Thank you.
Yes.
Brockman, I kind of. Tog 2's gun will be amazing. Like,
If
6
any of you
second
have
reload.
Isn't
before, I would
isn't
very much
isn't Tog
appreciate
2 out of the BR rating for this?
5-3.
Oh, so it can be. But the thing is, if you're taking a Tog 2, you're taking that over a 6.0 tank because that's got to be a 6.0
but it's
pick.
28. But it's 28 pounder. Again,
It's-
has a 6-second reload.
It's 28-pounder, take out the sponsons, and it's invulnerable to anything that's over 3-0s. 4-0s, it can be angled easily. 6-0s, the gun. It's a brilliant firing platform. If you're doing King of the Hill, just park it on the hill.
Hey, well, that's one of the reasons why I won't be King of the Hill. I will be forcing people to make difficult choices with the maps I pick.
Yeah, but then if you have too many caps, whoever has faster vehicles just wins.
Please, when I was
Well,
playing
this is
War
the
Thunder,
thing.
everything
This is the thing. I'm going to change up the maps. Like, thing is, yeah, on some maps, some teams will bring. This is the thing. I'm going to force teams to change their lineups as we go along, and they're not just going to be able
Yeah, but
to comfortably settle into
What
one
if,
lineup.
the problem is,
that-
though, if you do that, Fleet, not everyone has every tank to 6-0.
Well,
I'd
yeah,
also
that's
just like
why.
to point
Like,
out
I
that
know certain
every
people have only
decision you had
ground.
me
I know
make-
there's a lot of people who only played 1 or 2 nations.
Yes,
Oh,
Dragon.
hard
This is
one.
why we have teams. So that ideally you'll be looking to
it's
complement
either-
your strengths of the
But
vehicles.
what happens then, Fleet, if two people go, I'm sorry, but I don't have the tanks for this?
Well, how would they not have the? What do
So
you
say,
mean?
right, so say they've only got heavier tanks
Wow.
in
Okay.
a map. You've chose a large map designed where you need to run around to different camps.
Okay.
And say 3 members go, we only have very slow vehicles. Right, due to you
I'd-
changing the map to this instead of a single
I
camp,
would,
you
I
can
would,
no
I
longer
would,
play.
I would find that highly unlikely.
I've played Britain, I wouldn't.
I would,
It-
because if
Unless you bring in a Cromwell, the Brits don't have anything fast unless it's a
no,
Cromwell.
but the thing is,
Or
you're
the,
saying
or
that you're
the-
saying that
Sorry, Patrick.
enough people would have. I'm objecting to the fact that enough people would have a problem for it to
Have
be a
you
problem.
seen our community game nights? At least a quarter
Yeah,
of the people
basically.
there say they don't have vehicles above 3.0, basically.
Well, yeah, that's why you have the. That's why the 3.0s exist for people to slot
Yeah, but-
into.
But
And
what if you've
outside
got
of very
slow
specific
3.0s?
ones, 3.0s are slow.
I disagree.
It's outside of specific vehicles which aren't going to be that good for this. 3.0s are quite slow.
I'm looking at 3.0s. I'm seeing tanks that can do about 24 miles an hour. A lot of them.
Yeah,
Around that.
Puma is fast.
Like-
What did you put in the communications room channel? I case emergency summon.
Yes.
What was that?
I think it's meant to be I cast emergency summon.
I mean, I know
Anyway.
it's I cast emergency summon, but like, you would think it would take the little half second to just get the spelling right.
Anyway, as I was saying, my point
Oh yeah,
still
no, Puma.
stands.
Actually, no, Puma wouldn't be available because Puma's 3.3.
Well, no, you could use it, but it would take your 4.0 slot.
Yeah, but as in for some adjusting for that. There are right. Don't get me. There are some fast low tier vehicles. I'm not saying.
The problem I've got with your way of thinking, Dragon, is that you're basically saying that we can't use multi-cap maps because everyone's not going to have the vehicles for them on all the teams. That's basically what you're assuming. You're assuming that it's not because it's what you want to play. It's more that you think that's
No,
what the majority
I
of
don't
the
even know
people
what you're
will
going
be
to
able
pick.
to. But you keep saying you want single cap
No,
maps.
I've just
It's
done.
just-
We've
right,
done enough
it's-
community of Fleet. We've done enough community events where we've seen if one team does not have the vehicles, they lose
Well, this isn't a community event.
straight up.
Well, no, it's sorry. Well, it is going to be a
By
community event.
definition, it is.
But what I'm saying
By
is,
literal
it's not gonna, like, you're assuming that it's just gonna be, snap, alright, we're doing it, get your teams together in 5 seconds from wherever you can grab. No, it's gonna
No,
be
I'm
planned.
assuming we'll hopefully have like a week or two.
No, we're gonna have
But
we're gonna have a
not everyone
month
can
or
necessarily
two in
play that
advance.
period.
And this is the thing, I'm gonna give people plenty of time to organise their teams, sort things out, even do a bit of grinding if they want to get some vehicles. If they want to, obviously it's up to them. In anticipation of the event. This is the thing. I'm not just going to spring it on people with no prep time. I want it so that
I just realised.
go on.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh god, yeah, the Leo 4070 is horrific.
Well, it's actually not so much of a realization, more so a point. Doesn't War Thunder's ground engine fall apart when it comes to vehicles at really high speed? Because I remember somebody modded in the BMW
can,
M3 GTR from Most
It can.
Wanted, and
It can.
I thought as much.
But the point
Play the Puma or any of the fast wheelies, and yeah.
the point I'm trying to make basically
Okay.
is
Sex is great and all, but that car is amazing.
fucking I swear.
Yeah, Fleet, can I just give a proposal?
Go on.
Like, why don't we just have a team of 6 at a set BR, but the first battle will be at 3.0, then the semi-final will be at 4.0, then
No.
the final will be at 5.0.
Because that then basically means that every member of the team has to have those vehicles, and it massively reduces the pool of available players. With this,
Currently, Spyful Fleet's trying to do a cross-server War Thunder tournament. and
with my method,
we could
Foxo,
discuss- yeah,
with
basically
my
discussing rules and such for what people would be interested in.
with my method, Foxo, it means that players who have low tier tanks can participate in all the battles because there'll always be something for them to do. Whereas with your method, we're basically saying if you're a low tier player who only plays War Thunder casually, sorry, you can't really participate.
Have you guys ever considered putting a financial incentive into this sort of thing?
Where will we get the money? I'd have
I'm
to.
currently unemployed, and a lot. and portions tend to go to other things. Unfortunately,
If I was going to do
Okay.
that, I'd have to kowtow on my knees to Drac and Rex to stump up the funds for it.
well, no, it doesn't
Well,
necessarily
you
need
have
to be
your
a
job.
big.
There's some
It doesn't.
discounts for you.
Whoever said it needs to necessarily be a big incentive.
Even a small incentive would still require money I don't have.
Well, literally, if you just do the person who wins, they get 1,000 golden. The team that wins gets 1,000 golden eagles each. 1,000 golden eagles is like £3, if that.
So
I
you
would
brought
very
up
happily
Koto
buy that.
into Drac and Rex, didn't you, Fleet?
Kowtowing, yes.
Well, Koto, whatever. You have your job. Get to it.
Deliver more pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, I had considered
pay like 20 quid.
I had considered a rule. I had considered a rule where I had considered dropping it down yet further and making the lineup 3.0, 2.0, 1.0 to massively increase the amount of players we can get. But then I feel like people would complain about not being able to use their nice shiny tanks.
Problem is, if you go that low, you start getting some. Arguably, I would actually say the power imbalance is higher at low tier. Have you seen high power autocannons at low BR?
I'm aware. Like I said, that no one said this was going to be easy.
Yeah, see, Windhover has a point. That's good.
Yeah, just get Fleet's YouTube channel going.
Exactly.
I mean, hey, if you want
currently
to,
he's
then
getting
jump
his
to
arse
it.
kicked in War Thunder, so hey, not War Thunder, in what's it called Empire at War.
And considering Fleet is objected to becoming a titty streamer, I would say Windhover is onto something.
Okay. Here's the plan. I will go to our favourite Moroccan and actually commission this VTuber avatar. We will then use it to stream
Busy
and
though,
make
currently.
money.
I thought he was busy at uni.
I am
Right,
at uni.
His commission's reopen.
Oh.
Are reopen now.
Oh, great.
I don't have the money for it, sadly.
Well, you don't have the money for it, but I'm absolutely positive everybody else does if they crowdfunded enough.
In general,
Oh
like,
no, because we're only looking at like 150 quid. I could pay for it.
that's very cheap.
Well,
I
In
do
general,
not want
it's definitely
Foxo.
something that could be done, like not as in the tournament. But that's something that can be figured out.
This is the thing. I basically just want to talk through it. You know, basically run my ideas out, see who salutes, and see what immediate problems came up. So it's clear to me that
Certain vehicles will definitely have to be banned.
Okay, we'll all think it over.
I think
And
I think I'll ban the Sherman. But here's the other reason I wanted to discuss it with you. I want to run a test tournament this weekend. Two
Right.
teams. I want to just basically use the basic setup we've got. Basically, find out what vehicles are broken. Basically, test it the best way there is.
Yeah.
I know this goes against everything I've said, but I think that's actually a good idea. You'll be retaining players for when April rolls around.
Here's the thing, Foxo, Dragon, do you reckon you can both scrape together 6 players to form a team by this weekend?
Well, we'll have me,
I'd
Greg,
have
and
to-
Mep, Benno.
I would have to call in favors, but
Well, no, I will
maybe?
be. No, I will be putting out a community game night roll later on this evening in the War Thunder chat, saying we're going
Like,
to be running a test
Could we get a 6-player team for ourselves? Easily, but
between the two of
That's me and Dragon together.
Yeah.
But if the two of us separate,
you. This is the thing.
It's
But no,
potentially doable.
no. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a ping in War Thunder saying what's going on and saying that if you want to participate, please send a DM to. Basically, I'll explain the rules, explain what's going on, and basically say if you can come up with a 6-player team of your own, fantastic. But if you can't and you want to participate, please send your information, War Thunder information, to Foxo or Dragon to ask to join their team.
Ooh, do you want me to start a new Discord server for it?
No,
we've
no,
got
no.
enough
Oh,
Discord servers.
No.
A dedicated Discord server.
No, the whole point is it's supposed to take
Save
place
us.
here and on Rex's server. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I'm not talking a server where we can liberally use everyone to organise it.
No.
We don't have to
I don't
wrangle
think-
people.
I don't think that's necessary, personally.
I'll be back in a second.
Because I don't believe on more Discord servers. But no, it's definitely something that could be figuring out towards so I'm just seeing.
Why not just use Teams? You know, like Microsoft Teams.
Who the hell uses Teams anymore?
Well, that'd be me.
I know a lot of people actually do.
I'm just saying, it is incredibly underrated.
I'm so glad I uninstalled it.
What? Why?
It was useless to me. It
The
was
only
just
thing more
annoying.
useless than
What are you
Teams is
doing
the
for it to be
OneDrive.
useless to you?
It was for university. University.
But I'm in college and I use it.
University during pandemic. On a practical-based course.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from now. Yeah, okay, you know, I understand that now.
Okay, so does
Also,
the chat
teachers
start
having trouble
asking
talking.
questions, or?
Yes, I've been hoping people will be doing other things as well, but because the numbers in chat haven't really changed. They just haven't.
Questiono
a lot of-
answero. Asko. Give us questions.
Yeah, preferably not naval ones. I kind of suck at naval ones. The absolute irony of that, but you get what you're given.
I may actually.
Ask me
There is.
how many calls I fed to the
Fuck,
blog
he's
march.
back.
Um,
Alright, everybody, cancel it. He's back.
There may actually be another way to do this. Well, no, not another way, but another. Well, how do I put this? So
Why not
Rex
just have
Rex
everybody
has
install the BMW M3 GTR mod and just have everybody try and run a racetrack with that?
Rex has notified me that he does play with Spookson on a fairly regular basis.
Oh god, not
Who's
not
Spookson?
Spook fan base.
Why am I not
Not
linked? That
Spookson
would
fan base.
And
I have no idea who that is, so I'm kind of out of it now.
He's a YouTuber who's currently. He has a group of fans. He also has a group of people who hate his guts.
Oh.
Yeah, well, of course he's a furry, of course they do.
Wait, hang on.
You can't say much.
Wasn't there a guy called Napalm Rats that also played one?
Napalm
we
Rats.
don't. Yeah, he had a spectacular fall from grace. He basically
Why
clickbaited.
should that-
He basically clickbaited his audience and then basically called them stupid for not seeing it and refused to apologise.
Oh, okay.
He could have fucked himself.
Instead of apologising, he doubled down. It did not end well.
Well, you have to at least respect him for sticking to what he said, but I don't necessarily agree with what he said.
No.
I
But
mean, fair enough.
the plan for this, so the plan for the actual tournament is I want there to be an official, at least if it's just Rex and if it's just Rex's server and this one, to have an official dry dock team led by you and Dragon.
Yeah, that is worth putting together. Napalm Rats is in the server.
Yeah, I did. I thought that. But
So
we could
An
even
official?
say a couple of teams of 6 from each server would be good.
yeah, that's the plan. But there is to be also an official dry dock team led by you two, and an official Rex's hangar team led by Rex. And
So
ideally,
what does that make you?
and well, I'm
Wait,
I'm the quizmaster / runner. I'm running the damn thing. I'm spectating,
Oh,
giving
wait,
commentary.
I
He's
got
putting
it.
in all the effort of saying yes, go do this, and watching.
does that make him the girl at the start of every race that's wearing that tank top and
No,
flags?
that makes me the bloke in the commentary box.
Oh, okay.
No,
So,
you
I
can't
don't
speak
know,
eloquently.
I don't know, anime race queen fleet. I could see it.
No.
Yeah, that's the term I was looking for. Race queen.
Well, I was more meaning these lane style ones, but I could definitely. As what's it called Hosh race queen skin when?
No, please.
Ooh.
Look, right.
We
So,
Well,
Put your hands in motion.
well,
But-
think about it. If we base it off Shenano,
Hmm.
do the French
How
have
do
any
you
folk
fleet a
skills?
Hosh? And no, not currently.
Then again, I wouldn't mind being a race queen. I've got the hips for it.
Okay. Okay, what? Wait, are you
Brain now.
Dutch? Are you Dutch? You're
What?
the Dutch
No.
one, aren't you?
No, I'm not Dutch. Guy is Dutch. I'm not.
Nice.
Okay, guys, Dutch. What are
Yeah, you
you?
got
I
me
need,
and him
I
completely
need a way
mixed
to
up.
insult you. What nationality are
The same one as you.
you? You're Irish?
1 second, I'm just typing.
Oh, the gasp! He's typing.
He knows how to.
Can
He knows
read?
how to speak people and type.
Oh
I'm
wow.
not going to say right because, well, writing and typing are not the same thing.
So is there
It's still
anything?
baby steps.
So are there any? So while I'm just writing away, are there any vehicles just discussed between you? Are there any vehicles you definitely positively think should be banned, either tech tree
The
or?
BMW
German,
M3
German
GTR.
M1, German M109G, in my opinion, but that's because I might be slightly biased. And I'm
We're not
sick and
having
tired of
aircraft,
high-velocity
remember?
155.
Oh,
I still
M109.
maintain the
M109G
BMW
is a self-propelled artillery piece fleet.
BMW M3
German-
GTR.
Every single one, apart from the German one, is what's called 6.3, and the Germans, of course, because the German get it lowered in BR.
To be fair though, it's got a worse stabilizer.
Oh yes, I do agree. Leopard 40/70,
4070.
because
Okay,
the
it's-
Leopard 40/70. What do we stick a rapid-fire 40mm Bofors on top of a Leopard hull? That's
The R3.
fair.
I'd just like to point out, I've not played War Thunder in 3 years, so I have no idea why the Leopard 4070 is bad.
It's literally a Leopard 1 hull at 5.0.
Okay.
The main battle tank Leopard. When
Oh, okay.
it's the main battle
Right.
tank Leopard when fighting World War II stuff.
Right. Damn.
Yeah, things don't tend to enjoy it much.
I don't see why French tanks would be disallowed.
Well, no, they won't be.
Okay,
I
good.
think the argument there is ban French because they're just everyone else, but there is at least some interesting French stuff.
Oh no, there's a lot of French stuff that could fill gaps in lineups, like massively.
Such as?
ARL 44s, for example.
It's a 5.3, so that's your 6.0.
Well, yeah.
Plug.
Well, yeah, but that gun is that gun is worth having that as
Yeah,
your
but
6.0.
why? Yeah, but why would you? Like, this is definitely a personal thing, but why would you take the French 90mm when you've got the American 90mm?
Because
or
the
some of
American
German
ni-
stuff.
the
or-
American 90mm is worse than the French 90mm. Look at it.
It's APHE though, doesn't it?
Look at the comparison between
It
the
does- yeah, it does.
ARL.
It gets APHE. Yeah, but it gets APHE, which is a one-shot, one-kill.
Actually, do not also get
Although the French do get, although the French do get as a,
post-war M36 available as well, which gets heat FS.
I don't know.
Ooh,
The
yes, it
French do
is.
get the early marks of AMX-13 as their 4.0, and they can also get the shown with the SA-50 as their 5.0, which is actually quite useful.
There's definitely a couple of stuff that could work, like, but overall they're not too line filly because they are.
Well, the thing is, like, you can, like, people can pick and choose between different tech trees as they please. There are a lot of choices here that I can consider very interesting. But one second, I'm just.
I'd say ban the Oswin. That's a tank that probably should end up banned.
AV220, I can say. Well, in fact, yeah, just in general, if people want to put to get since people are doing this, try and put together a list of things that are agreed to be ludicrously overpowered.
The Oswin and the Oswin 2.
The BMW.
The R3.
I'm just glad they can't get any guided missiles at 6.0. We are this close to
Painfully-
having missiles, but
Painfully, I would say something like the Cromwell RP3.
Yeah, she's got a point there. Foxo.
yeah, but the
It's-
RP3
it's
would
so
take. Admittedly, your RP3 takes up the 4.0 slot.
It does,
Yeah,
but it
but
is
It
stupid.
doesn't give a shit about if you can aim the rockets. It doesn't give a shit about what you shoot at.
Maybe.
It's like you've seen me reliably bonk tigers with a single rocket with it.
Yeah, but I also don't like tigers.
Yeah, it's stuff
And
like
also,
you can
don't
I
bonk.
actually don't,
tigers.
also, I don't think we'll actually, depending on how things go, I don't think we'll see tigers in this tournament. I'm just
Probably
gonna say that, like, just because, well, at least in my opinion, that you shouldn't see a tiger. I do kind of expect people to bring them anyway.
If I
but
was in the tournament, I'd be using one because you know I'm good with tigers.
the reason why I would say you won't see tigers, the Tiger's a flat front plate tank with a whole ton of weak spots, and that's your 6.0 vehicle one way or another. Or you could bring some other much more valuable 6.0 vehicles.
Explosive spray.
I like the
Look
better
at it.
Tigers.
Look at what Ghost put in the chat. That's actually pretty funny.
Because Dragon Dead, what should a Tiger be? It's got pretty good armor all around. And it'll be pretty safe against.
To be fair, if you're going to see a Tiger, I think we'll see Tigris.
Rock and stone to the bone.
Because Tigris is the Hungarian one, which is just a better Tiger, for some reason. Oh, what, the Italian 109s are also so.
Wasn't there I've been thinking, wasn't there an April Fool's event where everybody just got like great big exosuits?
That sucked. No, that one sucked. That was this year just
Now,
gone.
that was fun.
That was fun if you knew how to play the game, which most people didn't.
I want
And
Tailspin
they
back.
suffered because of it.
I know
I
you
want
want
Epic Let's
fucking
Play.
Tailspin back.
I remember fighting Meta and Baron and all that in Tailspin 2 years in a row. That was fun.
We were fighting together, not against each other. You realise that?
Well,
right?
it depends if we were doing 2 platoons and trying to get into the same battle on opposite sides.
You're also aware that I do not play on PC, right?
I just had the mad thought, you might see, there is a slim chance you see the Israeli gang make an appearance.
You think?
M51.
Oh no!
M51 6.0.
Oh no, that could be used, yeah.
So it's what, M61, M36 with a post-war M36.
What
Just
I
remember
want to see,
TFS.
going back to the point of the exosuits, is I want to see somebody dressed as Batman, or modded as Batman.
They're not in the game anymore.
M51s might not be very tough, but their gun is very good.
But
Drummer.
my question is, are they going to be coming back?
And I said, mate. That's the whole point of we might see Israeli gang. It's a joke. Like, well,
Even
yes,
the,
there is problems. Like,
Even the
the
M51
idea is
protect
to have
against 3Os.
a meme.
Even M51 protect against 3Os.
Fucking Hava Nagila. God damn it.
Calliope is entering the chat. But I could see that. It probably wouldn't be very good, but it is, I guess, just
It would
standard
be.
Sherman.
The main
are
thing
the
is that
actually, I guess against 3Os, the rockets might be effective.
even
they've only got
because
well, no,
rockets
well,
are really good at
guys,
killing barrels.
Guys, I'm setting up the ping message now. But so
Yeah,
what
where
I'm
are
saying,
you doing
in War Thunder and Gaijin games, it's not going out yet. But what I'm gonna say is, they're gonna DM you with the War Thunder name and what vehicles they can bring to the team. If you have 6 players, tell them that you're full, because this ties into the next thing. If they say they are full, please.
So
Feel-
are me and Fox are on different teams?
You
I
are.
presume?
You are. You're both
Right.
because we need at least 2 teams to test against each other. At least 2.
Do we agree to split our usuals, Foxo?
I want map.
Hey, you can have Mep. I want a
get
meme against Mep. I remember that community game night where we drove Fleet out because of the insanity.
Isn't that like pretty commonplace though?
No, usually Fleet tries to take over. This time we were able to drive him out by sheer, pure insanity.
Oh, so you blew his mind hard enough that he rage quit. I'm assuming.
No, he just saw it. I can't deal with this. I'm
Yeah, 'cause
leaving. I'm
you had-
going. Have a
Okay,
good
you and
evening.
Mep memeing, and me and
Yeah.
Benno memeing at the same time.
Ah. Oh.
And then just
music
everyone
for
else
you.
just talking, laughing at each other. What do Americans actually have a whole bunch of good stuff at around 6.0. You could theoretically get T20. You've got M4 T26. If you want, you've got the M6A1 at 5.0. There's definitely decent M4 76 at 5.7. So US has options.
He was role-playing hard. Oh,
Well, right,
that
so
makes
one of the
all
things that
more
happened is
juicy.
me and Mepos just kept going, don't spot me, dragon, don't spot me, dragon. Where the hell actually are you? I'm driving down a street in a B1 tear. He's just driving along in a French AA. As soon as oh, there you are! Just start hearing increase of screaming. Later, I'm still looking for him. He circled around an entire set of buildings, and we come face to face, and you're like, oh, well, there you
Kim,
are.
Kim, which turn? He'll get there when he gets there.
Right. So to give you a quick preview, then, Kim, Fleet's trying to organise a War Thunder tournament, just for fun, not anything serious.
He needs some guinea pigs.
Try and basically to meme around in.
He needs some meat shields.
Oh,
Yep.
Slightly ahead.
He wants people to fuck around, but it's going to be him that finds out.
I'm not going to limit to when your tank's dead, you can't use it again. Because that will give people
so you
more
can't keep
freedom.
using the same tank.
Yeah, I will allow people
Okay.
to do that if they want, because that means that people who have less, vehicles at a BR can do that. And it will also make nations like Israel viable, because you can have the M51 as your 6.0 and just have it reliably be available to you.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Stupid.
I might have to see if I
shit.
can try and organise then a proper Girls and Panzer style team.
A what now?
Girls and Panzer.
Oh, wait. I know what you mean. Oh.
Well,
I have no
clearly
idea
I
what
need
that
to-
means, but I know
Clearly,
he's
I
going
need to get
with
my
it.
squadron of 3, what's it called? Crusader 3s going to do rosehip memes. Bring along a Churchill.
Dibs on Benno.
You just want access
I've
to his
just-
rare vehicles.
I've just
I
realised
want access
Benno
to
or
Cromwell
420.
RP3.
I'm banning that.
Aw.
I've just realised Benno or 420 is actually in the Ace Combat Aces Club over on Xbox. I, for one, find that absolutely hilarious. Probably because it's a small fucking world. Your silence means nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Why does that sound like something a Roman would say?
What? What? Your silence
a-
means nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. I'm paraphrasing Rick and
Yeah.
Morty.
Okay, because that sounds like something a Roman would say in the Colosseum.
Was it because I said cheer?
Okay, so I'm just going to read what I've put. Friends, servers, War Thunder players, I come to you today with a special announcement. I have for some time been working on the concept of a War
Oh,
Thunder
that's
tournament
cheesy
within
as
this
shit.
server, and perhaps other Discord servers as well. Well, we are now approaching the early testing stage of this project, and as such, myself and my fellow colleagues in the communications team are going to start running some test matches this Saturday.
Make
We're
sure
looking...
to exclude me from that.
We're looking... I said colleagues in the communications team. You're not a
Yeah,
communications officer.
exclude me from that.
Are you a communications officer?
No, that's why I said exclude me from
Good,
that.
you
I did.
I'm
drafted.
in the damn chat.
I did.
But-
You're
Okay,
not
good.
you're not a communications officer. I
Okay,
said
good.
in the communications
Now
team.
continue, you bitch. Carry
Fuck
on.
you, you git to the fucking concentration
You
camp
wish,
with you.
Please, since I've been drafted into doing this, do I have to start singing sad songs about how horrible it is
No.
with an American accent?
Anyway, we're looking to at least test 2 6-player teams by @Dragon2000, @FoxOD and Fox respectively. But if we can get more 6-player teams to form a proper bracket for a short one afternoon test tournament, that'd be even better. If you want to participate in this test tournament, please DM either Dragon or Fox with your War Thunder name and what vehicles you can bring to the team. If they say they are full, please feel free to attempt to put together a 6-player team of your own. And once you have, please DM me @Fleet of Oceans with your team name and player list War Thunder names preferred. The rules are as follows. Your team should consist of 6 people. You're allowed 1 tank of 6.0 or less. You're allowed 1 tank of 5.0 or less. You're allowed 1 tank of 4.0 or less. You are allowed 3 tanks of 3.0 or less. You each get 3 respawns during the battle. The same vehicle can be used all 3 times. You may not use aircraft.
Sums that up pretty well. You did include that it's to be tested on Saturday, correct?
Yeah, I said we're starting from some
Good.
test matches this
Saturday?
Saturday.
Including.
Time?
Yep. Probably an idea to actually set a time, but
at
I guess that depends on when you're
60
No, we don't want a whole bunch of Americans signing
1600
up.
GMT.
Well, 1600.
Sorry,
Well,
1800
that exclude.
GMT.
I was about to say that 1600 would have excluded all Americans guaranteed. 1800 might be a bit tricky, but it's the usual start time. So, we'll have to see what we can make do.
You meant use aircraft. I hope this will be of interest to you, and if you are partaking, please feel free to point out anything you find off or unfun about the
Well,
team.
the reason why there's no planes, Kim, is a single person in a good plane can kill
about the
a
team
game.
setups, rules,
Has Battlefield taught you nothing?
Well, no, has War Thunder not taught you nothing?
rules.
No, I've not played
etc.
one in 3 years.
Look back
as
in time and play
Indulge
War
aim
Thunder around
to
a main event.
improve this
That's all you have to do to know why
over
Cass is
the
Cass.
coming weeks.
And Foxer does not
Need to
normally say stuff like
improve
that without a reason, and I
This
agree.
formula.
So many suicide bombing
over the
American
coming
cast
weeks.
planes. Ugh.
In
Well,
In my defense, I'm not
preparation
better.
I would
for
agree,
the
Kim,
formal
apart from the fact that that's one of the exact reasons
of
why
the
I said
actual
no.
event
The
as
problem is with
get
that track
towards
is at that point the plane's
middle
useless.
of
You're basically
this
asking a
year.
team member to do not much.
All the best, and
I can
Yeah, oh yeah, I
Remember,
agree.
get
Grumman.
free
Actual
respawns,
good,
but just
actual
slam-
good are very good.
there we go.
So-
Just Dragon, if you get respawns right, just slam the Lancaster into the ground and then respawn in it.
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah,
It's there we go. It's gone
Slam
up.
it into the ground.
You've literally said, not reading all that. Oh my
They're
god.
not reading that essay ahead of time. Oh, I agree. Intelligence is highly important, but the problem is, not many people necessarily want to just be flying, combat air patrol over a map while everyone else is shooting stuff and screaming.
In his defense, I'm not reading that either.
I don't need to read it. We just had it read aloud to us.
Were we? I wasn't paying attention. I hope it didn't overfill that washing machine. Now that I think about it, I have really got to get good of an attack plane in Battlefield 1. I'll see people go 42-0 in an attack plane, merely just strafing the players on the ground, and when I try and replicate it, I just crash the trees.
Well, that's
I
gonna.
have got to get good at it.
Oh, that's part of the problem, Kim. I see. The 5-0 player would get a Wyvern. And a
The
Wyvern
Wyvern
plus.
wouldn't be that bad.
It's enough to get 3 kills guaranteed.
No, what would worry me is someone
Well, some
at
of the other-
4 taking the Brigand.
Mm,
Because without
yeah.
hostile aircraft, the Brigand's just gonna get a shit ton of RP3s, 2 500-pounders and 2,000-pounders. Yeah, someone knows how to aim
no.
RP3s.
Oh, you're talking to the wrong person, Kim, to say RP3s suck.
Like, RP3s, they suck if you've got a skill issue with them.
Now I wait for the
RP3s can be amazing.
now I wait for the Wolf of the Chat to lose its collective Jim Jams.
I expect most people will ignore it.
It's fine.
Unfortunately,
And then when
I hope
and,
it doesn't, but I do expect.
and then when people say, "Oh, you're doing a thing," I'm like, "Yeah, there was a thing in Wolf of the Chat. Did you not? No, I didn't read it.
Yep.
How dare
Yep.
you? How dare
People
you?
don't read anymore.
How dare you not at everyone? Well, you would have complained if there was not everyone. Yeah, but
I personally believe that they're not
Yeah,
going
not
to be
everyone would
wearing
annoy
Jim Jams
people.
in the first place.
thing is, people complain.
Exactly.
People
I got
complain
mul-
when people
I got multiple messages from people saying that you were an idiot for not pinging correctly.
I mean, pinging correctly.
If I reckon that's our D&D session, and half the time they've got no clue what the fucking
No,
thing
no,
is.
I mean when Fleet was doing it the other, when Fleet was doing the sprocket thing, I got 2 or 3 different people saying Fleet's an idiot. Why is he pinging like this?
What do you mean pinging like this? I was pinging the @here, which is what I suppose is what I was
Yeah,
told
and
to
people
ping.
said you should have actually used what's it called, theoretically at everyone, because at here only pings people who are online.
Well, I was told to
Right.
ping at here by the staff.
Yep. Hey,
So,
Yep.
I'm just saying
Okay,
back
quick
because I
question.
don't
Have
care.
you run this by HUD? Please tell me you've run this by HUD.
yeah. What do you mean? You mean the War Thunder event? Yeah.
And a ping. Okay, good.
Well, also, thing is, the community game night enjoy ping is mine to use as I see fit.
Anything big's HUD's gonna want to know about.
Well,
so.
Well, yeah,
This is
this
the
isn't.
first test.
Yeah, this is for the first test. This is not. Like, I guarantee that we'll get enough people to form the 2 6-player teams with this, guaranteed.
Well, you're already up to 15 goons in the chat.
Yeah, but not all of them have War Thunder, and I don't know if any of them are going to form part of the teams.
I mean,
I'm
I don't
pretty
have War
sure
Thunder
at least
either.
2 of them are bots. I'm pretty sure at least 2 of them are bots.
I'm sorry, what are those guys cooking? Mutsu, what am I cooking? I'm the one doing the cooking. This is my fucking baking oven.
Well,
You're
hang
not the
on,
one who's having
hang on.
organised teams.
They're the ones that Mutsu's just pinged. They are the ones that are obligated to answer the question.
Basically, Fleet's trying to get me and Foxo to have a murder rampage against each other. It's probably not going to work.
And I get to watch.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the
because
thing.
basically, Fleet's got sick and tired of us dominating him.
Well,
like
no,
a sub,
that's not-
And now he's trying to make us fight each other.
They are your lab rats. They are my lab rats. And no, they're not. No, they're not. This wouldn't. This.
Yeah,
no,
come on, Fleet.
no,
if
this,
you run a team and Dragon spectates, I'll
Well-
put on.
well, no.
Finish that.
Well, no. The whole.
No, cease.
Well, no. The whole point is I need to. This is also for me as well. I've never actually tried spectating, watching both sides, running an event like this. I've never actually tried doing it. So this is as much for me to gain experience doing that as it is. Because again, the War Thunder spectate mode is a cruel mistress. I need to get used to how it works before the actual event kicks off.
Okay.
That
I'm
made
sorry,
me laugh more than I was
Heathfish.
expecting.
Just one
Yeah,
thing.
sorry.
You're not competent enough to be a bot.
To answer your question, Kim, I don't think Fleet can cook. No.
Why? Okay, can we? Why is RBG been a salt mine recently? Like
Why did
always.
you ask RBG?
I did!
Put him in the chat,
I
nothing.
did ask
I
him.
don't know. Right. So naval has come up in future potentially, Mutsu. So not immediately, but potentially in future.
Indeed. Also, for those who were asking, I can confirm. This is a spoiler. Next week, Rex's hangar in Ramblings.
What about him? Oh.
They're fucking no.
Rex's hangar in Ramblings next week. We're gonna be talking Jerry Anderson.
Yes. So wait, Rex is hammering. Fuck, I can't speak.
No, Fish, you're not programmed incompetently. If there's anyone that's programmed incompetently, it's me.
Mutsu,
If there's anyone programmed incompetently, it's Fleet because it's programmed by a Chinese bot farm.
you little vixen, you are not good to the Chinese Communist Party, therefore you must be put in the thought prison for not being good to the Chinese Communist Party. Glory to Xi
I'd like to see them
Jinping.
try. Never try and steal something from a dragon's hoard.
You admit it!
It's also I have the ultimate defense against Fleet. I have the Tiananmen Square copy pasta.
No, she's got more than that.
I'm doing 1,000 calculations in my head and they're all wrong.
Oh yeah, Dragon and
Yeah,
Fox
but
are
how's it-
boning. They've been boning for some time.
What can you not? How have people not telled? Even Runes brought it up. Hey, you know something's bad when Rune brings it up.
Oh, the selfie guy. Okay.
Like anyone who wants to turn up for the War Thunder can.
Yeah, it's not by invite. You can just turn like the way to do so has been put in the.
I've already got one person mentioned.
Oh god, that's funny. RBG's put like out too long. I declined to read it, and Lana's accusing him of throwing his toys out the pram. That's hilarious. Look at that.
Okay, I've
That's
got
funny.
my first person.
Wow, that was
Donnie
fast.
Saurus.
That was fast.
RBG says
We've got
never
this-
listen to Rune. I don't even listen to
He's too
myself. Are you
horny to
kidding?
understand what he even sees before him.
Wow, that was fast. So what have they said? Have they said they want to join and what vehicles they're
No, they
bringing?
just gave lineups.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I have US
Yep.
France pass. Oh god, I've got one with a French.
Well, they,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
they said to both, so I don't mind whatever side they wish. And yes, I do see you still in chat there.
Wow.
Yes,
I
we see
hate
you.
the French.
Play it. Hey, if you want to if you want to purposely sabotage her, play French with Foxo.
Look,
Oh, I wonder if
I
Waffle
will
would be interested.
specifically find ways to team kill you.
Oh wait, actually,
Clearly,
please,
I try and
when
get
you're
Waffle.
splitting up, do not end the stage. I want to continue.
No, because I don't want your... No.
When you
How do you
leave, when you're all splitting up, continue the stage. I want to continue.
I was about to say, couldn't you just, start another event?
Yes, that's what I'm going to
Nah.
make him do, because I'm not going to let him hijack Ramblings and the Ramblings audience. If he wants to
You
get
mean like you hijacked hoods?
I never hijacked Hoods. What are you talking about?
Wait. You
I'm making
hijacked
like a
Hood's
joke.
thing?
No, I didn't do anything of the
Most
sort.
people didn't, unfortunately, attend.
I was actually,
saw
I
you
was,
on the Hangout.
I was actually trying to make it seem like it was busy, so people would be like, "Ooh, something's going
Yeah, I
on."
know. Playing anything French is self-sabotage? I disagree, Spiteful. The French do actually have some decent vehicles. They're an utter pain in the ass, but, what's it called?
The
1600
issue with French
1800
vehicles is
GMT
that they were
is-
made by the French. If they were made by anyone else, I wouldn't mind them.
God damn it!
Kiki Great Sword goes slam. No,
Oh, I gotta just been pinged.
Ping.
Oh, okay.
One ping only, Vasily.
No.
Wait, Mutsu? What do you mean today? How would it be 1800 GMT today when it's currently 1930 GMT?
Okay.
Did you
it-
not
it
read
was-
the announcement, Mutsu? Like, people be like, "I'm going to skim this announcement." Like, I've put all the information in there. I made sure of it.
Fair enough, I guess, Mutsu, but
Okay, just to clarify, it was the one pinging. It was none of you mooks, so you don't need to worry.
No one likes reading your essays. Well, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault, is it?
okay.
I don't know. You could have just said B there or B square.
Yeah, that's so appropriate for
is
a
Arby
fucking.
still in the chat?
yeah, I think so. He's just been commenting, so
Well, Abiji, what would you rather have me
Arby-
do?
yes, he is.
There is never going to be a naval tournament. Naval is shit in War Thunder.
There will be naval included in the full tournament because Rex asked for it.
I mean,
There's no way to
let me,
include it because people don't play naval.
let me
That's
actually
the
put
issue.
together a slightly TLDR announcement. Okay. We just think.
The fact you're having to think about it is.
Let's go, gang. We're having a War of Thunder shit. Grab your boys, grab your toys.
Naval,
We're doing this at 1800
while
GMT.
naval can be utterly miserable,
Be there.
it might
be
actually
square.
give me a chance to use, like the 3 Navy ships
I don't
own.
think I've never said that in my life.
I may actually just go. I may actually just go coastal with it.
No, because coastal ship.
AC
Actual
4.
naval is shit.
Ghost, I have never played Ace Combat 4.
I'm assuming he's meaning Ace Combat 4, but I don't know if he necessarily is.
Ace
Look, if
Combat
needs be,
Score,
we can do
Pies
the
of...
naval
Or it's
in
AC
World of
I'm-
Warship.
the only one I don't get is ACFA, and off the top of my head.
Ace Combat Horse, Skies of Deception.
God, I wish we had some Ace Combat
Yeah,
remasters
Matt-
on PC. Armored Core.
Let's-
Thought,
yeah.
right. Thought.
Put it this way.
Ask a community what AC means.
Okay.
Get 10 different answers.
Right, Mutsu,
Yeah.
the issue with naval isn't that you can't run tournaments for it, it's that nobody fucking plays it.
Well, don't worry, Stevex. This week is not the naval one.
No, this
because
is
don't worry.
naval-
this is
only a
the
tiny fraction of War Thunder's player base actually plays naval.
yeah
It would perhaps
this
be
yeah
almost
this
enough for me
is
to get
yeah
enough
this
freezes.
is the first of the first of the first of a series of
That's what it
tests.
was.
Like this is a bare bones bitch version of the tournament. Like there
Okay,
is
but do you
a
expect
lot.
people to remain for that long?
What do you mean remain for that long?
You said the first of a series of tests. I'm expecting
expecting
dozens
one
of tests
test.
to come out of it.
No,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
was
expecting one test,
test
maybe.
maybe one and done.
Well, no, we've got to test the
Yeah,
air.
I don't-
We've got to test the aerial and the naval versions of it.
It's more like
Don't
we're gonna
worry,
go
I'll
down
leave the naval
risk,
till
which is-
last, and then we'll have lots of discussion on that before we get to it.
There's
Yeah,
no
Kim's
discussion.
point.
Nobody plays naval. At least
People
Kim has
do
a good
play
point. What's
naval.
the incentive?
Right, incentive to join the tournament or incentive to join the test? The test, fun. The tournament, also currently fun. Maybe
Yeah,
something
what-
later. Who knows?
What do
look,
winners
I
win?
will get for the main tournament.
You
The
get a
winning
gold
team
star.
will get 1,000 GE from me.
For each player.
Yeah, we actually talked
Great
about
player.
this, Kim, before you got here. I brought up financial incentive, but
And Foxo has
people
very
were trying to
generously
defend
jumped
that,
in to
yeah.
actually stump up, so thank
If
you,
required, I
Foxo,
can
for
also
that.
try and provide a small amount of stuff.
Discord Premium,
I
that
would rather just go with it's a War Thunder thing. It would likely give you War Thunder stuff.
yeah,
I thought.
basically.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes,
get-
big brain moment.
get the winners. Get the
The
winners
problem with that
nitro.
move is giving 5 kg. to,
Benno,
multiple
Benno, you're
people
not
is, I
part
guess,
of Benno. You're not part of the staff structure. I can't ask. In fact, I'm gonna have to ask you to
Uh,
not do that.
You know, you can't.
No, but neither can
Rest
you.
of us back.
Neither can you.
Oh, I don't need to. I don't need to ask if they're willing to provide. There's a difference.
Yes, but I have
I've
to
done
ask
enough
them
of
to
these.
stop.
I've done enough of these things to figure out other ways.
Benno, if you buy it, we can make it a charity tournament and give the rest to a local charity of your choice.
See, that's actually even better.
Yeah, known as us.
Let's do this for a good cause.
You can't. Unfortunately, you can't do test drives, really, Kim. You can do stuff off the wiki, but that's about it. You can't do actual
Just-
game ones.
Make sure the charity is under your name, so that the funds would be diverted
I'm
right back to you.
What do you mean? No, Tog is amazing if you play it right. Tog has a
Look.
6-second reload on a.
I do
28
expect.
pounder.
I do genuinely expect that we're going to see Tog. At least one team is going to use Tog.
Hey, I said if I can do a meme team, I will do a meme team.
Okay, because I'm probably going to end up bringing out the M10s.
Kim, has the Russian
Well, the
badge
M10 the M10s are all 3-3.
amazing.
Or up, so
Yeah.
you'll only be able to get like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, but Dragon, it's the late 17-pounder
No,
for the
right,
4.0 slot.
No, right. So if people have not read, no, you can't do full teams of Tog. You can only have one vehicle of up to 6-0, so there would be potentially 1 Tog.
The Swedes,
I probably haven't
the
been tried
Swedes
it
can
again.
actually offer some interesting options for vehicles of the 4 and 3.0 bracket.
It's the PKV3, is it with the long 75? Or
Oh,
157?
No, that's 3-3.
One
The
that worries me
Yeah, man,
is the
That's
Sav.
a very good... Oh, God.
I'd say
no,
ban the
no,
Sav.
no, no, no,
No.
the PV KV2 with the long 75 is 4.0, and that has very good ballistics.
Because it's just like, the Sav isn't going to be much of a big issue because it's experienced players. It's going to be fighting against.
Yes, but it's still the fully automatic Sav is terrifying.
It's got like
Oh,
70 mils of pen.
No, it's got more than that.
It's got an incredibly low velocity gun. What it is.
Sav 2012. Thankfully, we'd only get, I think, 1 of them. Or is that looking? I think that, yeah. This one. Looking. Yeah, 120mm auto cannon. No, 100mm basically. 100mm of pen.
Yeah, even Israel can bring the M51 to bear, which would be hilarious.
Would it?
Thankfully.
I mean, thing is, it can kill anything it sees, but it can also be blattered in return. So,
Yeah, it's incredibly good against
Right.
new
So
players.
Mutlu, that's not how it works. Like, so how it works is you have one player plays 6-0 vehicles, or up to 6-0. One person plays up to 5-0. One person plays up to 4-0. 3 play up to 3-0.
how you use
So-
that lineup of tanks is up to you.
And potentially that Israel player could bring 2 different versions of the M51. But either way, you could just bring out that same vehicle 3 times over.
If you
Yes,
want to.
one person is going to have to fight 6-0 with 3-0 tanks.
But this is the thing
Smart
is
player
the thing
then
is
will
it's
go,
a
I'm not fighting a bloody 6-0 in a 3-0.
Yeah,
I'm going to go pick a fight with their 3-0s.
yeah, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a
smart player
it's
will
a
shoot a barrel and then run around.
Yeah.
yeah, or alternatively, because it's a team-based tournament, we'll shout, "Hey, there's 6-0s over here. Are they ready? Is the 4-0 or 5-0 able to come in and help? Or you guys should push while
I
6-0's
disagree, Kim,
here."
with the idea that, well, put it this way, Kim. If I'm the 6-0 player in the one on Saturday, which I'm not going to say I necessarily will be, I can say for certain I'm not going to snipe. Because sniping is boring.
And it also may not guarantee you win the tournament.
Yeah. Like, oh yes, let us all camp and snipe. Why don't they just get all the caps? Sturmtiger, I think, would actually be a tactically stupid choice to bring.
Like if people want to, it's the team's
It takes up
choice.
Your 6-0, it would take up your 6-0, and also you've got various other problems. It's got such a long reload. Yes, it'll kill anything it hits, but yes, it's a 5-7, which means it takes up your 6-0 slot. Because the person who can bring only up to 5-0 vehicles cannot bring a 5-7. They would have to. They have a cap of 5-0. So if they bring a 5-3 or 5-7, it takes up the 6-0 slot.
There is no aircraft, Benno.
For this test, Benno, we've banned planes because it would be cancer.
I think aircraft will just be banned. Period.
T20 could T20 could be interesting. KV-220 is also being brought up as a potentially strong vehicle. I know a number of people want to ban Black Prince because apparently it's too overpowered, which I'm debating. It's very good, but I don't think it's as overpowered as some might say.
It's overpowered because you don't have access to its main weakness.
Yeah, like the point, if you can have a jumbo, you could Black Princes do have an issue.
Well, no,
Yeah,
because
I
the
guess-
jumbo
I
is
think
significantly
Drummer's- I
more
think Drummer's got-
vulnerable.
I think Drummer's got a good point though of see in the test what vehicles jump out immediately.
Like it'll like the test will make it because there's going to be more than one battle in the test. So we'll see. It'll become very
14 to 4-7, so it would take up the 5-0 slot.
no
that would be
no yes
classic.
yeah like that
So that would be
basically
fine.
it's basically do you go for 5-0 tanks that are mobile like that are all balanced
Oh, I
like
agree,
like
bro.
like the VK 3002? Do you go for a 5-0 tank that's an assault tank
Uh,
like a Churchill 7? Do you
what
go
you're
for a
referring to, Kim, is the T-34 prototype, which has a quite literally broken armor model. Its armor doesn't work the way it's meant to.
it's banned.
It's got holes in its armor and overlapping bits of armor because it wasn't.
And yet,
properly
thankfully, you'd only get
properly.
one. Even if you were able to bring one, it's only one of them. And also, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it resist, a 6-0. Which, knowing its armor, it probably would.
And here's the thing: if you've got a choice between bringing,
This is more meant for fun, as well. The first time.
I reckon we will see a lot of T-34s as the 4-0 because they are.
Almost certainly.
Although T-34s and KV-1s, I reckon will be quite popular picks.
Because
I can
what
entirely
you'll see
see-
is T-34.
I mean, we
T-34,
might see
56,
a lot.
57.
I wonder if we'll see any Chiha long
And then
guns
T-35
because they are 2.7s. I wonder if we'll see the Chiha long guns. That'll be interesting. Let's see if we see any of them.
Yeah, long
I
guns.
doubt it. No.
I
We'll
still
probably
think
see a lot
it's
of Finnish BTs. Finnish BTs.
You think?
Yeah, very good bonk tank.
It's 1.7 though. You're sacrificing the
Oh,
3.0
that's
slot for a
good.
1.7.
I'm actually rather glad the T-34 100 is now 6-3 because I believe it was 6-0 for a while. But yeah, so we could probably quite easily see a T-34 57, T-34 85 as mentioned, if you want to go just a Russian line.
Although,
like
problem
that.
is, if you do that, you're sacrificing the ability to bring an IS-1. An IS-1 would be a very good counter if someone's bringing Tigers.
No, I don't think IS-1's very good because it's got the frontal weak spot.
Now, why would you bring an IS-1 when the T-35 exists? Which is
KV2
Ah,
KV2 could also be seen.
KV2?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
that
takes up your 4. That does take up your 4.
It does, but-
potentially.
basically, if you're doing if you're bringing, if you've got to play with a mostly Russian lineup, there are options for 4-0. I mean, do you have some options for 4-0s? Like, I'm not saying there aren't, but you've also
T34 1942, T34E STZ both exist at 4-0.
SU-57B could be an interesting
You
pick.
could be a meme and bring out the SMK.
Thing is, hey Dragon, I just realised a nice pick for the Russians is their 2-7. If people have it, SU 57B.
Available.
Dragon, what do you think for the Russian? If you've got a Russian player for their 3.0 SU 57B,
the Grey Ghost. That's the T14. That's a 4-7. So that would be available.
That would be a 5.0
available in your 5.0 slot. So you could bring one of them. I like the T14, but I'd also then argue M6A1, which has a 76mm gun.
It's got equivalent armor at the frontal axis, and you've got a secondary 37 as well, plus 250 cals.
However,
350 cals.
It's not the angle fortress the T14 is.
This is true, but but thing is, if you bring in,
I would agree. It is indeed a bit better. Oh.
I guarantee you that if we have a lot of US players, they'll be bringing M18s as their 6.0 because that is a mobile, hard-hitting gun.
No,
we won't see M18s.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
What? Because it's 50 cal vulnerable.
True. T20. T20s could be a good pick if people have them. If people have them.
Alternatively, there is just the M4T26, which is an M4 with a 90mm. Or we see the people, or if people do want to bring out a TD, we'll see the 90mm M36B2 with post-war heat FS,
which could be devastating.
It's not could be devastating, is devastating.
Because
that overpressures a lot.
That's a nice Black Prince you had there. It'd be a shame.
I reckon.
Black Prince.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Do you reckon we're gonna see? Do you reckon we're going to see Nashorns or Waffenträgers being brought in to try and bring as in the Pact 43s into the battle? Or do you reckon people are going to set up things like Dickomax, Stirring Mill? Oh, I reckon we could see.
No, spiteful. No.
We could see flak buses, 8.8 flak 37s on the half track. There's 4 picks for Germans, because that means they can have a Tiger, or a Panther. So they can have a Tiger or a Panther as their 6.0, and then have a VK 3002 as their 5.0, and then have the either
the mononation teams, but I do think we'll see a lot of variation.
No. What I mean is, what I'm talking about as a German, I'm not talking mononation teams. I'm talking as a German player in a team. Your options, you can fill a lot of slots basically with a lot of. I wonder, will we see low tier wheeled armored cars like the 222 and the Daimler taking up one of the 3.0 slots to give some mobility?
No.
Do you reckon?
£2 will not cut it.
Do you reckon we're going to see 6-pounder Sarks? They're 3.3, so they are taking your 4.0.
Your 4.0, no.
Concept
because at that point,
4.3
concept takes up your 5.0.
But
maybe the 77 is good. That one is a possibility.
I definitely think. I mean, Senti is nice.
I would also be a good choice.
If people have Excelsior, that's a great pick for the British 4.0 slot if they have it.
I will murder anyone who has an Excelsior and steal their account. I want one so bad.
Oh, that's a thought, folks. Where is it? Wait, they've taken the AEC Mark II into the premium tree now. I thought there was an AEC in the British Tech tree.
No, there is, but it's not the armored car. It's the AA. AEC.
I thought there was
that gun one has always been a premium, and people hate them for it.
Yeah, it was one of the first events as well.
2017.
That's a point. Chiri 2 with the auto-loading 75. It's a 5.0. That'd be a good pick as a 5.0.
There's a lot of stuff we might see. Of course, we could also be talking out of rubbish here, because people are weird and random.
This is what excites me.
See, someone just taken all early T-34s and just me.
Oh, if only
Hoorah!
T4 was.
Hoorah, comrade! Hoorah!
The problem, unfortunately, there's a bunch of tanks I just see is they won't be picked because there's just better versions.
The thing I can see being picked is Wirbelwind and Ostwind.
Unfortunately.
Because they're so good at shattering barrels.
Well, not
and
just that,
killing
but
shit.
also they have the high pen round.
That is true, but I wonder, are you? I mean, it basically depends on what the team leader or the teams think. Are they going to sacrifice a gun tank for? Because here's the thing, yeah, sure. Wirbelwind, it's a 3-7. That takes you 4-0 slot. You could fill that with a Flak 88 truck. Or a Dicamax. Like, this is the thing.
Yeah, you could, but the Ostwind just gets to the side of someone and puts one round and...
But what if what if they don't? What if they don't get to the side? What then?
Well,
What if they get killed?
You can make the same argument about a Dicamax, though, of what if it gets machine gunned?
Well, it's
What
harder.
if it gets HE'd?
A Dicker can't be machine gun though.
No, and it's actually got 50 of frontal armor. It's actually like the Dicamax is actually
areas.
quite survivable. Like, trust me, I've survived being machine gun and HE in the Dicamax in the events. Like, it's actually a lot more survivable than people give it.
50 mil over the driver and the what's it called?
It's
Machine
actually
gunner.
Dragon. It's actually quite survivable. Like, it's
It's enough to keep out 50 cals.
which means that it's actually able
And
to
that's
work.
why-
Yeah,
And I
it's-
said at that point load the HE.
You'd think so, but no. You'd think so, but
yeah.
no.
Well, hit the, hit the 10 millimeter
6 pounder.
plating.
6 pounder HE kills it because it's open top.
57 millimeter HE will overpressure and murder.
So we're looking. So for
It'll overpressure them.
do we think we're going to see Panzer IVs taking 4-0 slots because they are 3-7, or do we think we're going to go for other tanks in other countries' lineups that are better as 4-0 vehicles?
Well, it's the the Panzer
Are we
IV
gonna
also
see Chaffies?
can kill anything.
Are we gonna see Chaffies?
No. No.
You think?
Puma.
3-7. But the thing is, if I've got a choice between a Chaffee and a
Puma's
Puma,
just outright better.
I disagree. I think the Chaffee's a better vehicle than a Puma.
Well, the Chaffee's bigger, slower, has similar pen.
Well, it's
It's also harder to hide, and both get scouting.
the thing that gets it for me is that the Chaffee's off-road performance, and the sheer amount of DACA you can put downrange at close range with those 50 and 30 cals.
Yeah, but
Like,
Puma's got such high rate of fire on that 50 mil, it doesn't matter.
yeah, but with an
But the
M27,
Puma's still stupidly fast off road.
I don't know. That's not an AA gun. That's an armored car. It's not an AA.
And it technically is an AA gun, technically. It is meant to be used as a proper autocannon, but it is also used as an AA gun.
I think we're going to see. I bet you will see some SU-122Ss. I bet you we will.
SU-122Ss. Announcing to do
Like, a couple of us have been hoping
this
for
is all
other questions.
academic now.
Yes.
Do we want to answer questions from the chat? Chat's got any questions?
Yes. Do we have any questions?
That
God,
could be
please ask questions. I'm bored out of my skull.
This isn't even your show. You don't have to be here.
I don't care. I'm
He wants to
bored
meme
out
on you.
of my mind. That's.
Hey, I've been building
Legos.
Legos, so I've had other things to do.
Are you
I've got my new
playing
battle
Skyrim?
droids to drive.
Good for you.
Well, I managed to get a couple of the old Tank Commander B1 battle droids.
Yes,
Yeah,
and I'm
and I
making
could-
sure Skyrim does in fact belong to the Nords once again.
I can cook actually, Kim. Just this morning, I actually cooked myself some pasta. What I did was got 500 grams of pasta, poured some that onion and garlic bolognese sauce on it,
Nice now, drummer.
and then got 3 pinches of basil, 3 pinches of sage.
Speaking of
It
it,
all
I
together.
really should go and make some. And
Freaking
yes, you are
cheese.
correct, Spiteful. If the Nords win, you have once again pushed the world one step closer to being doomed. So no, Skyrim should
And-
not be remained to the Nords.
Now you
Like-
see, it should be because Skyrim has plot armor. They know Bethesda's not going to kill off the Elder Scrolls, so they'll find a way to bullshit it.
If I had to save one chip, it would definitely be prawn cocktail.
Might be boring, but salt and vinegar is pretty good.
It's not vinegar's alright.
Remember, taxation is theft.
God damn it, boys! You're gonna make me lose my marbles.
You had
Well,
marbles to begin
we
with.
did want questions. What did you want?
What
did want questions. What did you want?
Please ask questions now. We're done. Like, the War Thunder bit has been completed. We have discussed
That
it
was
to
a
death.
that wasn't a bit. That was a whole goddamn white man essay.
What?
What do you mean
What the fuck's an essay?
Something I've had to make too many of.
And what
There
the
you
fuck's
go.
a kilometer?
A unit of measurement designed for measuring ludicrously large starships.
Ah, I see notes got to you. We must put you down now.
Hey, no, I actually
yeah.
prefer larger ships in sci-fi.
Oh yeah,
Star
fleets
Trek, I
had
think,
marbles.
perfect
They
in size,
just
but
fleets had marbles. They just went into that strange music machine they made a few years back.
Please do not.
Lee has marbles. He
Course he does.
just... It's all a
Just-
case of his are upside down.
He just
And they're the fancy multicolored ones.
he has them consistently going in a marble machine. You know, the one that's playing a song.
if Prince of Wales's prop shaft had been snapped off by the torp that bent it instead, would she have lived long enough to be able to get repaired or patched up?
Possibly, yeah.
No. The issue is, I don't think she can get home with it. Because the issue is, from what we know, when her shaft broke, it also fucked the engines.
Well, no, she was
Because-
The shaft was shut down, but when they thought it was fine, they turned it back on, and that's what fucked her. If there's water coming out the shaft, they know that that's been compromised to the point that the shaft is gone. So at that point, they'll just keep the engine shut down and keep it shut down.
But if I remember correctly, she was also losing power.
No,
Like actual engine power.
no, that was after they turned the shaft back on, and it just
Okay.
went wild and clobbered her. If they shut it down and keep it shut down, she may actually survive. And if the and if it's
It's gonna
clear,
get finished off though.
yeah, but it means Repulse might survive.
Yeah, it means Repulse might survive, but she's... If one of the shaft is gone, then she can't dodge, because her brother's going to be keeping her moving in a straight line. And stopping her from getting Bismarcked, so...
Rance, I don't measure by kilometers. I don't measure by acre feet per furlong. I don't measure by leagues. I don't measure by miles. I fucking eyeball it.
You don't eyeball Jack. Or maybe you do.
Of course I
Have you got designs on Jack?
You do not get to speak for how I measure shit. I fucking eyeball it. It's worked for my cooking. It's worked for my life so far.
That's it though?
Did I eyeball it? Of course it did. I realise that in most cases I'm supposed to
You're
say
a welder!
no, but
He's
I
supposed
won't say
to. He's
no.
supposed to be
Yeah.
an aircraft engineer as well.
Yeah, it's like, I don't see how things have gone well for you. You weld.
Of course I will. Why do you think I eyeballed it?
Explains the 737. Oh fucking hell!
So at the dawn of time, Lockheed Martin did in fact not exist.
Leave the Max 9 out of this.
Several billion years into the life cycle of the universe, a group of monkeys known as humans wanted to build a plane.
They eyeballed it.
Did I eyeball the Argon? Yes, of course I did.
Every true engineer,
Yeah,
every true engineer does not know that. That is the mark of a bad
No,
engineer.
That is good. Yeah. You do eyeball everything. That is you fucking me. Yeah, that is exactly how the vast majority of shit goes down.
You see, I trust that you can trust me, I'm an engineer guy.
Exactly.
What if
what
Hood's-
magic system is your favourite? Necromancy.
What if Hood's magazine detonated instead of blowing her in half, just blew out her bottom, aka her keel? Could they possibly have saved it? No, she's dead! If you blow out her bottom and wreck her keel, she's fucked! But also, that's not how explosions work.
Actually, I could probably answer this question for Fleet. Fleet's my favourite system of magic is also necromancy, since he's very good at bringing shit back from the dead.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean, you...
What the fuck do you think it is supposed to mean?
I don't know! Why don't you elaborate, you little plate-clad pelican who I brought into the Admiralty?
3-9.
I didn't bring that back from the dead.
Of course, you brought that back from the dead. We started watching that 2-3 years ago.
We
Somehow
haven't
you
watched
still
it in
managed to keep
over a
going.
year.
And you still managed to find a way to keep that threat looming over my head, but it's supposed to mean something to me.
It will do, because I'm going to start watching it again. Not here.
She won't.
I can't watch it here, obviously, because we're now at the server, so I can't technically break the rules of Discord. Because then they might get huffy.
Exactly.
But I have other ways and other means.
You're a giant necromancer, and that's all there is to it.
I'm not a giant necromancer!
Are you telling me, Flea, are you telling me you'll cast Seal Butt Crack on him?
On meta, perhaps I will.
I look forward to it.
What the fuck? And on that horrible mind image, I'm going to end that here because Meta's just broken me. On behalf of myself, the members of the communications team, and the twit over there, who's a fucking vice admiral who I elevated to his position, he still has fucking paid me back for it. I'll see you all later, and Meta, you'll have to start this again because you're not stealing my fucking audience. Don't come back. Meta will bore you with mechanical engineering. Don't come back to Meta's thing.
Your goddamn audience.
I know
Where
you.
the fuck's Meta going?
You don't know shit about me.
I know enough about you, you porcupine.
Not
I'll
even
see
that's
you.
correct.
I'll see you later. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good evening.
Can me and Drag